Good evening. I'd like to call this June 13th meeting of the Northfield Township Board to order. Please stand for the invocation, and then we'll do the pledge.
As we gather today, we pray that we are ever mindful of the opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and those things upon which future generations can build upon confidence. Let us continue to thrive to make a better world. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll, Clerk Manley.
Bellinger.
Here.
Zelenak.
Present.
Chockley.
Here.
Manley here. Chick.
Here.
Otto.
Here.
Dockett.
Here. Here. Is this on? Hello?
It is.
Yep.
I guess he's not going to use headphones. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the minutes. And, oh wait, we did the consent agenda, okay. Next item on the agenda is the minutes, and I have quite a few corrections to the minutes. So we could pull them all out, or it could and put them at the end, or we could just do them now.
I'd pull them out.
Pull them out?
Yeah, I have
Okay, we'll put them at
corrections.
the end then. I'll pull them all out. Mostly spelling, not really content, but
I have nothing here.
Check. Microphone, earphone check.
okay,
Nothing. Check, check, check.
Yeah?
okay.
You said we're...
Okay, so we have pulled the minutes out. They'll be number 10.
What was that?
We've pulled all the minutes out of the consent agenda, and the bills are already down at the bottom.
And we're taking the minutes out also?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So can I have a motion to adopt the balance of the, oh, no, wait, we have to add some things, yes. Okay, I would like to add a report or update from the Land Preservation Committee to the reports and updates. I would like to add, after the fiscal year budget, I would like to just add board discussion of the budget at that time. Then we'll move on to the agenda items. And
So will that be like 1A and B or something?
it would be, yes, it would be sort of like 0.
Excuse me?
It would be sort of like 0 after the fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You can remove number 5 also.
And yes, and we are removing number 5, the hiring of the part-time police officer. Let's see. Do we have any other additions?
Can we add for a discussion item at the end, independent contractor? It was supposed to be added onto the agenda the last time.
I just read it 2 days ago, so
Yeah.
unfortunately I didn't
Yeah, and I
Get it
didn't
on.
get anything out yet, so I'd like to have that added.
as a discussion item.
That is a
Okay.
discussion item.
For number 2, under discussion items. Okay.
Are we hiring a township manager tonight?
This is something I want to add to make sure that we're voting for the manager tonight.
Okay, I need to answer Mr. Dockett's question. It is on the agenda, number 7, the decision to extend a conditional offer, and that will be up to the board at that time.
Okay, so it
Okay.
is on the agenda that we will be voting for manager tonight.
It's
7.
number
Okay.
7.
Thank you very much. Just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So we have an agenda amended to add, oh gosh, the board discussion of the budget as number 0. We've got minutes as number 10. We've got independent contractor listed as a discussion item under proposed 2017 millage rates. And
We do have
That's
one
good.
more.
okay, go ahead, Ms. Dunn.
I do see that we have a notice here in regards to Mr. Dockett's pay. If we could add that as number 11.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Okay, number 11, we have a,
That could just
Motion.
be discussion also.
one or the other.
Is number 10 going to be the minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Number 11 is the motion to handle Mr. Dockett's pay. Okay. All right. So that is the motion, the agenda as amended. So do I have a motion to adopt it as amended?
I'll make a motion to adopt the June 13th, 2017 Northfield Township Board agenda as amended.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion by Chick and support by Otto. Any other discussion?
I really just think we have to get out of the habit of adding and changing the agenda. I do not think it is fair to the public as we do this at the time of the meeting. So with that, Ms. Manley, I'd like to have a roll call vote, please.
Yeah, and I second that. I
But
don't
I
like
also
adding
want
stuff.
to include that these 2 items that were added were also asked at the last board to be added, and they weren't.
That's correct. Thank you.
Okay. So roll call vote then, Ms. Manley.
Chick,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Chockley,
Yes.
Zelenak,
No.
Docket,
No.
Bellinger.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
It
It passes. Ms. Chick?
I just wanted to say, I think that we have to get back in the habit of presenting what's going to be on the agenda the Thursday or Wednesday before, so that we can add things at that time, or say we don't want it on there, so.
Right, it would help me out if I got things ahead of time.
Yeah.
And just know that the packet is being done on Thursday. If we can get stuff done, if we can get stuff on Tuesday, it is a real zoo on Thursday, I'll tell you. So, so anything you want added, please.
I agree with Janet, Chuck.
Mhm. Thank you. Okay, now we can move on to call to the public. Now, this is an opportunity to come up and speak your mind on anything you'd like, and we'd like you to try to limit it to 3 minutes. That would be great. State your name, your address, and then speak to us. We are going to have an opportunity for extra public comment on the public hearing on the budget, and I'll have a bunch to say right before that. But this is a time to share your thoughts on just about anything you'd like. So welcome.
Mary Devlin, 9211 Brookside Drive. Well, I'm going to start the call to the public off on a positive note tonight. I just want to say what a wonderful weekend this was, especially on Saturday at the 70th anniversary of the Whitmore Lake Kiwanis. And there was hot dogs and there was cake and everything. There were a lot of people there, and hats off to the Kiwanis for 70 years. The other thing that I wanted to say that was wonderful, my husband and I were driving down Main Street heading towards the gas station, and I could not believe all of the cars and trucks that were lined up for cleanup day. Another wonderful time for Whitmore Lake. And another thing, I just want to say there's a lot of positive things happening and about to happen in this township, and I hope it will continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to come up and share anything? No?
Hi, I'm Julia Henshaw, 4681 6
Hold it
Mile.
right up to your mouth, really, really close.
Really close, okay? So Julia, 4681 6 Mile. And I think you should all know that I am one of the members of the committee that you established. We thank you for establishing the Farmland and Natural Areas Committee. The committee itself has decided that it might be better to call ourselves the Land Preservation Committee, or LPC, simply because it's a simpler name and fairly common apparently in this area. We know that you were all supportive during the election of encouraging natural areas and farmland. And so we were very, very happy. There are 6 of us on the committee, plus Lenore has now joined us as a representative of the board. And we're very, very happy to have Lenore, but we thank you, Marlene, also for getting us started. We've had 5 meetings. We've drafted a set of bylaws. We've elected a chair, a vice chair, a secretary, and a treasurer. We have also individually and, different ones of us communicated with the land preservation committees in Webster, Scioto, Salem, and Ann Arbor townships. And we've also talked with representatives of the Legacy Land Conservancy, Southeast Michigan Land Conservancy, Washtenaw County Parks and Natural Areas, and the Huron River Watershed. This is all, of course, to educate ourselves and start to understand the many, many resources that are available in Washtenaw County in this area that are already working very hard and very successfully to preserve farmland and natural areas. So with these things, we've done a few other things too, but I think these are the highlights. We feel that the important first step is to reach out to landowners. Usually people say to choose landowners with more than 20 acres and try to have an event for them sometime in the next few months where we would invite people, bring them together, have cookies and cider or punch or whatever, so that many different landowners could come in and talk to us. And that's part also of what we think is important. We need to market ourselves. Most of the citizens of this fine township don't exactly know that the Land Preservation Committee exists. So that would be a step towards educating other people that we have these resources available to them. And then we also feel we would want to engage the services of we know of 2 professional local experts in land preservation, and they would meet individually with landowners, with us also, members of our committee, are eager to go out and have a chance to talk one-on-one with people who own significant pieces of land. So those are 2 things we'd like to do. We have other ideas, other plans. We have done other things. And so I am here to ask for your support, the board's support, for an allocation of $10,000 in the next year to achieve these goals. As you know, you have to have a little money to get started, and we'd really be so happy to have that. And thank you all very much for your support.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one. Thank you for coming up and sharing your thoughts with us. Okay, board member clarifications. Does anybody need to clarify anything with what any of our members of the public shared? Mr. Dockett.
I've got a statement to make here. Barb Griffith called me last week. She is a well-respected business owner in Northfield Township. Barb is the president of the Downtown Development Authority of Northfield Township and has been involved with the DDA from day one, as far as I know. The Northfield Township planner, McKenna, has denied several business owners building permits, remodel permits, and zoning compliant application permits. Barb wanted to know if this township board knows why. I told her I didn't know. Said, I think that McKenna needs to be taken to the woodshed for a talk. If they do not work, if that does not work, the next stop should be the unemployment line for McKenna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dockett. Anyone else would like a clarification? Ms. Bellinger.
I was contacted by a constituent wishing to see more use for the commonly known as Van Curler North Village Park.
Mm-hmm.
I was contacted by a constituent wanting to see us do something with that park. multiple ideas came to mind. He mentioned maybe a horseshoes contest, maybe a craft type of event, or even maybe a temporary motocross for kids bike thing, just something. It was different. He wanted to see something be done with this property in the meantime while perhaps we're figuring out what to do with it otherwise. He was a little disappointed that really nobody was out there using the property over Memorial Day. So that was one bit of information I wanted to share. The other was, let's see, I talked to another constituent concerning some noise problems along North Territorial Noller Road. And evidently they've been talking themselves to the businesses that they've had some issues with, and had a little headway and polite discussion with one of the businesses, and I guess perhaps the other business they need, perhaps our enforcement officer or somebody maybe needs to contact the businesses regarding the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. noise ordinances and so forth. The other thing is I took it upon myself to contact the references of the 2 remaining manager candidates. And I have, I contacted them by phone and asked the basic questions of what capacity did they work together with the candidate, and would they hire them again, and just what are your, what would you like to share, what shall we know, what would you like to share with us regarding the candidates. I provided copies today of that stuff as well as emailed that last night, my notes resulting from such inquiries. And I believe that's about it for right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Zelnok, did you have a comment?
I have a list. So first of all, I would like to thank Julia Henshaw for coming, and we do have to do some house cleaning as far as the Land Preservation Commission. One would be they have asked me to join, but we need to have that officially, a motion moved by the board for that. So we can talk about that either at the Land Commission report, or we can add it to the agenda for next meeting. Next, I would like to thank all the volunteers for making the Township Cleanup Day a very huge success, and to thank everybody in the community that participated, because the lines were long, but it's great because all I can think of is trash in the barrels, or not trash on the side of the road, which is fabulous. So thank everyone. Just wanted to let people know, as we are starting to get a interest on our MIF checking account. And this is the major checking account, and we can, if anybody has any questions, we can talk about that at the financial report. The non-motorized path with the GoFundMe information that Jackie provided, as well as what we got from the township today. We have $4,160 in the township in checks, and $2,500 from GoFundMe. So a total of what we have is $6,660, I believe. Ordinances. I was not very pleased to see that there was an ordinance at the Planning Commission to limit the conditional usage of posting. I probably don't have that phrase quite correctly. This was tabled. I'm not sure why it's being discussed. I mean, I think more transparency, the more that we can communicate to our residents, is a good thing. I also have a comment on the park on Main Street. I just call it North Park. Polly has contacted the office and would like to donate 5 grills. Kiwanis would like to potentially put a pavilion or maybe a playground. So I would really like us to have some sort of plan so that we can start using the park, especially when people want to donate facilities to make it accommodate our residents. The other item is, unfortunately, it is that time of year. It is tax season. We are getting ready to send out our summer tax bills. The goal is to make sure it's in your mailbox July 1st, and to do that we have to do some prep work. Just a reference is we only collect taxes from the treasurer's office. The office is given the millage rate from all the taxing authorities, and our assessing department provides the taxable value, and basically we take A times B and we come up with C to determine the taxes to be collected. In addition, I know we do have a township administration fee that has been in existence. It's 1%. We have, I looked through the ordinances going back to 2006, and I couldn't see it established then, so it is probably established before that. And again, the purpose of this is to offset costs incurred by collecting taxes from the assessing department, evaluating the properties, from the treasurer department collecting the taxes, as well as the review and appeal process. So that's, and your tax bill in the summer is a shorter tax bill because we collect for 7 agencies. And that's about it. I do have a couple questions for Chief that maybe I'll wait to his report, but it's not about the report. Again, I talked to Chief a little bit. Residents have mentioned about trucks going down Sutton Road. He gave me an explanation that might be good for the public to hear. And I was wondering if you got rid of the computers. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's my comments. Thank you very much.
Okay. Ms. Chick?
I wanted to speak to the public's as a clarification. Land Preservation Committee is a long time coming. Appreciate your efforts. I'm so anxious to see what you come up with, because I know as on the Planning Commission we had been talking about being interested in exactly what the kind of information that you could give us. So good work. To Mr. Dockett's comment about McKenna. McKenna cannot arbitrarily deny any kind of an application. They can only deny them based on the ordinances. So if there's an issue with the ordinance, then we have to look at the ordinance, but they can't just arbitrarily deny because they don't like the issue. There has to be something that's not correct. And as far as the conditional use, the posting for the public hearing, the Planning Commission did vote. They didn't table it. They did vote, and they voted to approve that amendment. But the conditional use notice was taken out of that. So the conditional uses will still be posted, and the mailers will still go out. And in regard to, I'm pretty sure that the board directed Jennifer Carlisle to do the reference checks. And for the purpose that the board people shouldn't be getting a lot of context from us asking for references from people. So I think if the board directs someone to do that, that should be the person that does it, that we shouldn't be going off on our own to do it on our own. So just my comment. And I think that was all I had.
Okay.
Thanks for the clarification, Ms. Chick.
Anybody else down here? Ms. Otto?
Just to piggyback on what Lenore said, the Kiwanis is thinking of building a pavilion, but it would be a movable one. We've been throwing around some thoughts that if we did one, it would have to be one that could be moved if it had to be in a different location at a different time. So that's one thing that we were looking at. I know that there was a lot of discussion about the GoFundMe account, and Andy's here in the audience today, and thank you very much, Andy, for your efforts. And I just wanted people to know that the 8% on the GoFundMe will be covered. So actually it is $2,500 that you will be getting. And I did also receive a complaint from one of the people downtown that applied for a zoning because they wanted to move their location down the way to another location on Main Street. And that person was also rejected. And I know just so everybody understands, it's not that the board is not looking at these things. The board is looking at these things, both Janet and Marlene. I've had discussions with them on it, and I know Marlene was having discussions with McKenna, and there are, I think, how I'm thinking is that we have some gaps that we have to fix, and we have to fix those rather soon, so we're not bleeding our downtown from businesses that want to stay but can't stay. The other thing that I would like to see, and I appreciate that the Preservation Committee has asked for additional money, but I just wanted to go on statement to say that when the Parks and Rec did this, they had to provide a plan to show us how they would spend the money, what it was that they were trying to do, and I would like to see those efforts first.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Did you have anything? No? Okay, I want to respond to, I'm going to go down the line, Ms. Bellinger's comment about the noise. We did meet with one of the companies that was the complaint, and the code enforcement officer also went with me, and we got we had them take readings at the property boundaries, and they were not over the amount. And so they use a very sophisticated sound measuring equipment. A cell phone just doesn't, it's just not the same. But anyway, so they were within their boundaries mostly. I mean, they have had a violation or so that they have corrected. I do see the problem across the street, however, and that we need to follow up on. I drove by today and I thought, oh my goodness. So I was glad she sent me that information. We can follow up on that. And then, let's see, Mr. Dockett had some comments about the denials. One of the issues was the company was in violation of their site plan. And so we couldn't exactly say, oh, sure, go ahead and do this when they're violating their site plan. There's a tendency of businesses, once they get into a location, to kind of creep, with storage of all sorts of things. And that had happened on that site, one of those sites anyway. And so that got corrected. And the other one, the planner is working with, and I believe that one's going to be approved. One of the ones that Ms. Otto was talking about is going to be approved after they've worked out the issues. And then the other one, there's some complications with what went through on the zoning map. And so we're trying to work that out too, to see what's accurate. So we're working on it. It's just not fast. But I had great meetings in the last few days with the planner and the zoning administrator, so we're hoping to get some of those things taken care of in the future. Okay.
I did direct the one person that was downtown to go ahead and attend one of the planning commission meetings.
Good.
And
Okay.
have her voice heard there.
Great, thank you.
What was that?
So,
One of the businesses that are downtown that wanted to move down on Main Street, I did tell her that she should go to the planning commission and have her voice heard there.
Well, that's about $2,500 or something.
no,
No, not for the planning commission. She's already paid her money to have a review and was rejected.
What is the cost to go to the planning?
I think the planning commission's nothing.
yeah. Okay. I'd like to move on now to correspondence and announcements. Does anyone have any correspondence they'd like to share? Okay, I have an announcement. It's just that the appointments are coming up at the end of the month for Parks and Rec, and we may have some internal candidates for some of these, but Parks and Rec, Board of Review, and DDA. So there are specific requirements to be on one of these committees, but if anyone is interested in making an application to one of those committees or anything else of interest, I'll put them in the file, and we will be making appointments later in the year too. Oh, and the land preservation needs one more member besides Lenore. So there are forms out on the table if anyone would like to fill out an application and turn that in. And we'll be making those appointments at the end of June. Okay. Reports and updates. Department head reports. Well, we'll take all the department heads. We'll start at the beginning. Does anyone have any questions about the fire department report? Seeing no one?
Wait a minute there.
It looks like this. Yeah.
Yeah, the 7:01, is that about normal? Time, average response?
7:01 is the response time.
Yeah, is that about normal?
It's a little above normal.
Okay.
I'm guessing some of that has to do with the detours that we have to take to calls.
Okay.
Okay, and the $30,000 worth of equipment for $2,739, is that correct?
You're hard to hear, Mr. Dockett.
Yeah, Mr., speak
I
into
said-
your microphone, please.
I said that the $2,739, but it was a $30,000 worth of equipment?
Correct. We get it for 2,700.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else for that report? Okay, moving on to the police report.
I do have one.
Oh, you have a question? Okay, go ahead.
It's on, I guess, the third page. AED, what's that again?
Automatic external defibrillator.
Okay.
Keep doing that, I'm sorry.
Maybe I'll remember one day, too.
No, I know,
Thank you.
you've told me that before.
I thought it was that, but I just wanted to double check.
Okay. Police report. Does anyone have any questions, concerns about the police report?
Lenore made a comment about the large truck traffic on Sutton Road, which we did investigate and found some gravel haulers hauling gravel for a county road project in the area of 6 Mile and Sutton and Rushton. So when those trucks are on a no truck route and they're doing business in that area, that's legal for them to be there. Unfortunately, one of those trucks drove right into a ditch there just south of 5 Mile on Sutton and rolled over. The guy was fine, but Lenore was trying to, Madam Supervisor was trying to get some of the gravel, but I think they took it all, so.
Oh, is it still there? No.
No, I think they cleaned it all up, so.
Oh, it was there a couple days ago.
I haven't been down there in a
Yeah.
while, so.
Oh, my husband might help you out there.
Well, yeah, it'll help the drainage in that ditch, so.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you. All right. Anything else for the chief? Okay, thank you. Move on to the next. We have the wastewater treatment plant. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Willis? Mr. Dockett, go ahead.
60 hours overtime, that's up a little, isn't it?
It's a little bit up this year because of,
I can't hear you.
the overtime is. The overtime is up this year because of the weather. We had a lot of high flows and callbacks associated with that.
Something I'm real happy about. 2 tap-ins, can you give me some idea? Is it on the new part or 7 Mile or what location?
No, actually, they were on the Whitmore Lake Sewer District, the new Whitmore Lake Road Sewer District.
Excuse me?
They were on the new Whitmore Lake Sewer District.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. I figured they were.
Thank you. Anything more?
Yeah, I have a question on first page, dated 5/18, the underground leak in a water line at the plant, the third repair in the line in 3 years. So what did you do? What was the?
We get our water from the boys' school, the prison over there, and there's some associated with that water that eats copper up. And we had a copper line to run to one of our buildings, and over the years it's had 3 leaks. And finally we just abandoning it, and we're using our discharge water for cooling and different things in that building instead.
You do not have a well there?
No, we do not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Willis, I wondered if you knew when the flow monitoring was going to be completed.
I think they're going to go through June,
Through June,
I
okay.
think.
I was just talking to Brian Rubel about that, and he said they haven't had quite as much heavy flows or heavy rainfalls as they had hoped for, so I'm hoping some of these storms coming through in the next few days might give us a few more of those, at least an inch, but we'll see. So, all right, I just wondered exactly. I forgot the end date for that. Thank you. Okay, the community center report. Ms. Averill, does anyone have a question? Mr. Dockett.
If you know, it says that the McKinney Associates and the Downtown Planning Group held a focus session for the seniors on March 24th.
I
It's
apologize.
The bottom of this page, but there's no page number. They were looking for some input and ideas for growing the downtown area and developing North Village. Approximately 20 seniors participated. Did McKenna charge for this meeting?
They did not charge me. But
Well,
I
would
guess
they
Marlene
charge?
will have to answer that one.
Would they charge you, or would they charge the township?
I believe they would be charging the township, but Marlene would have to address that one.
No. It's part of their contract with the Downtown Development Authority to do the strategic plan for the downtown. And one of the focus groups that was set up was for seniors. Specifically.
Well, I mean, they get, is this part of the 24,000?
It's a part of the 20,500. It's $500 for a focus group.
And I would like to apologize, that was May
We
24th.
gotta do something
May
about
24th.
McKenna. They are robbing us to death. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions of Ms. Averill?
We need to control them people.
Okay.
I would like to mention that starting this Friday, the 16th at dusk, we're going to be starting our Movies Under the Stars program again for the summer. So the first one is Friday. It's going to be Finding Dory, and we'll be on the lake shore. So
Okay.
wanted to get that out there.
Okay, thank you.
I got a question too. I'm just
Okay.
curious, you deal with People's Express quite a bit there?
I do in terms of some of the trips that we do.
Okay.
And then they do come and hold their drivers meetings, their quarterly drivers meetings at the center. So I have that contact with them.
What typically do they charge a customer?
For a customer, I think within the township, it's like $1 now that the township has been providing some funding towards it.
What was it prior to that, do you know?
That I'm not sure. You would have to probably check with Doug Anderson on that. Because they don't come to the center to pick up individuals very often, so I don't know.
But they charge for the group, if you have a group of 15 seniors wanting to go somewhere, they'll charge like $1 a piece then in that case?
No, if I'm sending them on a trip, it depends on the mileage and the distance they're going and the time they'll be gone. So generally, on average, it's about $300, and I work that into the cost that the seniors are paying for the tickets. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all the department head reports. We can move on to the ZBA report. Anything happening?
No, the ZBA did not have a meeting last month, and they will not have a meeting this month.
Okay, thank you. Planning Commission report.
The Planning Commission met June 7th. We held public hearings on 4 items: a zoning ordinance amendment to the official zoning map to include the Whitmore Lake Horseshoe Overlay District, an amendment to zoning Article 33, public notice, which we talked about earlier, an amendment regarding Little Free Libraries as accessory structures, and an amendment regarding land divisions and subdivision to remove the application fee from the text. These will be coming to the board for approval in the near future. There was also discussion on amendments to the zoning ordinance regarding open and unroofed terraces, patios, and porches, and to review proposed revisions to the sign regulations in order to become compliant with new state and federal regulations.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Could we add Land Preservation Committee right here? Okay, we could go to Parks and Rec first. Okay, go ahead.
So the land preservation, and actually it's going to be, we'd like to be a commission, met on June 8th. Everybody was in attendance, but Mary was absent with notice, and then Mike O'Shea has resigned from the Land Preservation Committee as he is moving. So as you mentioned, Madam Supervisor, there is an opening. So they have requested the budget funding. In particular, we would like to hire a consultant to take an inventory, do some identified landowners interested, and plus this consultant would be someone who knows where the money is and how to get the money as far as matching grants. So that's where they request and what they would. I know, Ms. Otto, you had said they want a specific plan. If you could, that's the plan right now would be to go out and hire a land preservation consultant to identify the landowners as well as money from federal and state funding. In addition to that, we'd like to do some outreach programs. If you want more detail so that we could get funding, we will work on that. Is that what you're looking for?
That's probably what is needed, because we asked the same thing we asked a business plan for the Parks and Rec.
Okay.
And expect that from the committees if we're going to support them going forward.
Okay. And so did we get a business plan from the Park and Recs? I know they have a planning document, but is there a specific what
we
we're
did
going to-
initially when we set up the $10,000 for
Okay.
them.
Do we know what they're going to, I guess we'll talk about that at
Yeah.
budget. But anyway, we do have it, and as I mentioned, they've asked me to join. I happened to go after one of our meetings. They were meeting, and they said, could you be participant? And I went to the second meeting, and it's something we need to, again, formalize from a board perspective. I'm interested. They're interested in having me, so and our next meeting will be July 13th at 7 p.m. at the Public Safety Building, and we meet in the conference room.
All right. Thank you. Okay, Parks and Rec.
I understand there was no meeting last month due to lack of a quorum, I guess. I did get a mention from from CC saying that there's 37 of the garden boxes being used at this point. So this is the information. I did get that from her. There's a meeting this Thursday, and they do meet downstairs here at 7 o'clock in that conference room. That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Financial report. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to highlight, as I did in the public comments, that we are now receiving interest on our MIF account. And that is our largest account. I asked if we could, and they said they could give us some interest. So I will probably in the next meeting or 2 meetings come before you with a proposal on how to invest the CD that came due, which was approximately $1.2 million for the wastewater treatment. However, based on the interest rate that we're now getting in the MIF account, that was more than we were getting on the CD, but we need to do a long-term planning on that too, as Mr. Dockett has said, get a better interest rate going forward. So we will be working on that.
What did I say?
Oh, about, I think 2 meetings ago you mentioned that the CD was, because it was a short-term CD, was only making 0.1%, that we needed to do better. So we are going to put a plan to do that better.
Is anyone else having trouble with, can you all hear make out what she's saying?
Nope,
So I think something's wrong with your mic.
With my mic?
I believe it is, but I don't know.
Huh? Maybe it's the
It's
fan. It could be the fan.
It's the what?
The fan. Ah. So I guess when I speak, we'll turn it off.
I'm sorry, but I just can't make
No,
out.
that's fine.
Okay.
Put it by the flag.
I heard you say my name.
Yeah, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the fan. So you mentioned that at the CD we needed to get better rates, so I'll be coming with a proposal. But right now, we actually are, now that we're getting a interest rate at our checking account.
But I asked for a roll call vote on that, and I was the
I
only
know
one that
that.
voted no.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything.
Oh,
I haven't done
no,
anything.
you said you were going to go to a different bank,
Yep.
and then I asked you if that would give you, if we voted for that, if you could go ahead and invest the money somewhere, and you said yes. And I didn't like that, so that's why I voted
Yeah,
no. Okay.
that's okay.
All right,
But I'll be coming forward.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You're welcome. Any other question, or are there any questions?
Ms. Chick, go ahead.
Is there something or some place we can look at to see if there are fees associated with any of these accounts? Because I heard something this morning that you're getting an interest rate on your savings, but if they're charging fees, that sometimes the fees negate the savings. So where are we at with the fees as opposed to the interest we collect?
We don't get any fees
On any of these accounts?
on any of these accounts.
Okay.
There will be potentially a usage fee if we actually start to do remote deposit at the office.
So electronic deposit, you mean, for?
Yes, where we actually feed the checks in right now, we physically take the checks to the bank. We have
okay.
purchased the equipment in the past.
Yep.
And it would be a $50 fee to use that equipment.
Annually?
What dollar?
It would be $50 a month. So, but we have bought the equipment in the past.
Is that like Cash Pro, where you just feed it through and it goes in remotely?
Yeah, I believe. I
Okay.
don't know the actual term of the equipment, but we purchased the equipment. We're just not using it
Okay,
at this point in time.
thank
So-
you.
What percentage rate?
Pardon me?
You put money in the bank?
Yeah.
Are you-
0.15%.
Huh?
0.15% we're earning.
But how does that wash with $50 a month?
Well, I'm anticipating, because we just moved the account at the end of May, we got $20 in interest. I'm anticipating with the balance that we have, we're going to get between $400 and $500 a month for interest.
Thank you.
Ms. Bellinger, go ahead.
You talked about possibly moving to a different bank. I would be curious as to why. I mean, I guess maybe that's for a different discussion. Or maybe a different
Actually,
time, but
I
was this
have,
now-
I did, this is a great time. I did some investigation. The current bank that we're in is very small. So in the state of Michigan, you do not have to collateralize your bank accounts. It's not mandatory. However, with the size of this bank, it would be in our best interest to do that. And Mr. Maines is looking at the contract.
Did you say collateralize the
Yeah.
account?
Mhm.
Okay, no.
So that means what they will do is they will take the money that we have in the account, and they will go and buy very secure investments, so that if anything happened to the bank, we would actually be pledged to have our assets covered.
So we can have this small bank do this, or we can
That's correct.
request of them to do so.
And we have a security agreement that Mr. Maine's looking at so that we can sign.
Okay,
And
perhaps we could talk to the bank manager or president and ask if he could do this for us before we go ahead and try to move to a different one.
No, we're all set. So I'm happy that the collateralization of the assets will be sufficient, because the assets that they will be collateralizing are very secure assets. And they are pledged in our name, so I'm very satisfied with that as well.
Okay, so this means we may not need to move bank.
That is correct.
Very good, thank you. Thank you.
And so, I mean, it's just a very small bank. I investigated looking at other banks. We could probably make a little bit more interest at other banks.
I kind of like the small local charm too, and if they can protect us, I think that's wonderful.
And that's what my concern was. And again, we have, I believe, once we look at the agreement, we'll be in good shape. And the collateralization that they're offering is good collateralization.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you. Any more? Okay, thank you. And my report was in your packet also. I won't go into it unless anyone has questions specifically about anything. It includes the non-motorized path, the 6-mile road culvert replacement, and code enforcement, the controller, the newsletter, which I hope we will do for the community, the downtown strategic plan. Oh, I did want to mention about the downtown strategic plan. We are having the focus groups, but they're also going to be having a public open house on June 20th. So that's a week from today. It will be here from 7 to 8:30 to again gather public input. And then there will be an ice cream social and meet and greet on Saturday, July 8th at Barker Road, 75 Barker Road. So that'll be another opportunity to get input from the community on the plan. So there are flyers out on the table if anyone wants to take it, but it's Help Us Plan Downtown Whitmore Lake, and we're working hard at it. So
What was the time for July 8th?
July 8th is 2 to 4 p.m.
And then July 20th?
June 20th.
June 20th,
That's
sorry.
in 1 week. It's a Tuesday, 7 to 8:30.
At the Public Safety Building?
Yes, at the
Thank you.
Public Safety Building.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's up here. Okay. Anybody have questions? Ms. Chick,
Actually, Mr. Dockett had his hand raised first.
first. I didn't catch it.
Mhm.
Okay, Mr. Dockett, go ahead.
Yeah, how is the township paying for the replacement of the culvert on 6 Mile? $83,333.
The situation right now is it's out for bid. We don't know exactly the amount that it's going to be, but that's the estimate based on their experience with similar culverts. And we are paying 1/3 of the total cost, which amounts to the $83,333. And hopefully it will be less than that, but hopefully it wouldn't be too much more than that, but we'll find that out. Mr. Maines is looking at our 425 agreement with the Road Commission to do this project, and we are allowed to finance it over 3 years, so we would only have to pay 1/3 of that a year for 3 years, and that will help us with our budget.
And is there interest on that?
Any interest on that? I'm not sure. I think it's relatively small, if there is.
Well, I think we should know that. And
We can find that out.
And I want to know why that we're not charging the people in the district. We talked about them
Right.
paying 1/3, us paying 1/3, and the road commission paying 1/3. Why are, these districts was set up years ago to take care of this kind of a problem, and why are we not charging that? Or that's what I want to know.
Okay.
Why are we eating it all?
We voted to go this route so that we could get it done quicker.
I read the minutes. I know you said, how do you vote on it? It was a number or something, but we talked about them. I believe the people in the district, and I'm one of them, should be paying our fair share for the drain district. I mean, it's our water.
Right. We already voted on that, Mr. Dockett. Thank
Well,
you.
it was not right.
Do you have any more comments or questions about any other parts of the report?
Where's the money coming from?
The general fund. Thank you. Okay, moving, and I did include Mr. Rankin's report. Sorry, Ms. Chick.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to acknowledge Mr. Rick Yeager's help in helping to formulate the budget. And are we going to have Ms. Patrick come to one of our meetings when we're doing the public hearing for the budget? I'd like to hear her input on this as well.
That would be nice at the next one.
Okay. And then for the newsletter, can the board see the draft before it's published?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Right. If you have any suggestions, I know I got some suggestions from you, which may not actually be able to be included. We only have a few days. We've got to get this done by June 21st.
Right.
So I'll attempt to get that out. And so I'm hoping that Ms. Manley or the deputy clerk or, our treasurer can contribute too. And Chief, because we've got that millage coming up and we'd like to get that in there also. So anyway, that's my hope.
Go ahead.
I can't say enough good stuff about our new controller.
Yeah.
She is
Oh, yeah.
fabulous.
Good. I'm anxious to meet her. In the building and grounds, there was a notes about managing activity at the community park, and there's a lot of interest in people wanting to do things and developing, but it might be important for us. I don't know if we can right now or not, but we either need to develop a plan, which we've already got, either a concept plan or some synthesis plan, and get that in place before we decide to put anything on there. We don't want to put something there and then have to take it away or have it interfere with what we want to do. So we do have I think we should be looking at possibly deciding which plan we want to go with first. And the Planning Commission actually said that they thought that was a board issue, not a planning commission issue, so.
Oh, yeah, putting it out for an RFP and just,
Yeah,
yes.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the plan that was presented, they had the concept plans, the 3 concept plans, and then a synthesis plan. If
Mhm.
the board supported one of those, that maybe we could, that would give a start to what we wanted to do there.
Mhm.
And then for the planning and zoning department process, there was discussion in your report about looking at different things, but I think if anybody has any recommendations they want to make, you know, the public, anybody that has an issue or sees something that we can certainly change or take a look at anyway, because we've taken suggestions from the board, we've taken suggestions from the building department when they run into issues that are consistent, and send recommendations to the planner and the chair about what we should be looking at to take work on at the planning commission level. Also, one last thing, the non-motorized path, I wanted to suggest, the board can either say yay or nay, I think we should have an acknowledgement plan for a plaque on portion of that non-motorized path to acknowledge Mr. Lakatos' effort and the community's effort, because without that, we wouldn't have this non-motorized path in completion.
Mhm.
So if the board doesn't
Right.
want to pay for it, I'll pay for it out of pocket, so.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Lakatos was pretty courageous in saying, I'll do this. That's a lot of money to raise, but yeah, great. So, and the path is going along, not without some issues, but we're, you know, it's being constructed. I'm hearing from the residents about all sorts of things, so, and trying to handle all of those issues that come up. But I'm excited for it to be done. And as far as the 4th of July parade goes, that'll be interesting. Please stay on the north side of the road. I don't know. I talked to Mr. Rubel, and it's still going to be a mess that weekend. So if they can be lined on the north side of Barker Road as much as possible, that would be helpful.
Yeah, well, I reached out to Bill, and Bill, George, and I are going to have a discussion, come up with some plans, because there is some concerns.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's all I have. And then Mr. Rankin's report here is here too, and he gets out there, and he's really been getting through a lot of the complaints. We send him out, and we're going to provide a little more training so that he can do a little more than blight and junk cars and noise and things like that. But he's been getting out there, and he has a really good way of interacting with the citizens, and he's forceful, but not over the top, you know, so.
Yeah, and I do have to thank him because the one complaint that was brought to my attention, he went out diligently, at least within a week, 4 or 5 times. So he did very well.
Yes, he's doing a great job. So anyway, there you go. And part of the budget, I'd like him on 2 days a week if we, you know, hopefully everybody will approve of that, at least until we get the situation cleaned up. But we have many, many phone calls that he takes, and he's being only here once a week. Well, he's been here more than once a week, but it's hard to get through them all. So anyway.
That's what I was going to suggest. Does he need more time? If he's got all this work to do, we should probably give him more time.
He needs more time.
Yep.
He does. So anyway, that's my recommendation for the next fiscal year. Okay. Let's see, anything else? No, okay. Now, I'd like us to go into the public hearing, but before that, I have a lot of things to say about it because it's been challenging to actually go through the budget and get this all together, the turnover and all of that. So, so it has been challenging to get a budget developed to a near finished product. And we wouldn't want a near finished product without the public giving us input and without the board giving me input. So it's not like I can propose something and it's just going to get a rubber stamp. This is really our budget. So we spent a lot of time on it. This fiscal year overlapped 2 administrations, and the key people who are most in tune with the budget are no longer with the township. So thankfully, we still have chief and we still have some department heads. But Mr. Yeager not being around, you can't just open the door and say, hey, what was this all about? So Mr. Yeager did prepare the first drafts, and then we took it from there with the department heads, and his help was really valuable. But when our new controller took over, she had a very short time to get up to speed, but she's been doing a great job, and she plunged in and has shown herself to be very adept at dealing with this. She has a lot of good ideas, and we're hoping to clarify some of the areas in the budget where looking at it, you go, well, what was that all about? But we're trying to get those fixed. So as we looked at some of the line items, we began to have some questions about some of them, some of the amendments that happened, because there's an amendment amount and there's no expenditures against it. So we're trying to figure out what it was about, and we're going back and forth into the archive documents, trying to make sure that we understand and make sure that we're categorizing the expenditures properly. So some of this has taken quite a bit of time, and that's why you don't get anything, like totally polished at this point. And so I'm looking for your input. So we're continuing to research some of those and get some clarity about what they were for. So in spite of that, I've been working with the vet and our department heads to produce a budget that reflects some of our priorities for the township. And it's really all about serving our customers better, and those are our citizens and our businesses. So number one is moving us in the direction of providing more consistent and professional service for the things that we do. Code enforcement is one of them, and so I wanted to move him from 1 to 2 days. And then zoning administration being another big one, because it can be a help or a hindrance to getting our businesses to site here. And so more consistency, someone in the office instead of, townships away or miles and miles away would be really helpful. And I would like our zoning administrator to be in the office 6 hours a week. And that, so I put that into the budget. Maybe we tweak it, but it would also help Mary Bird with questions that come up every day, and our citizens could actually sit down and talk with her. And it's easier across the table than it is on a phone, when you've got the paperwork in front of you. So I think that would be really helpful to the community. So our staffing is really going to be an issue, as for providing good customer service. So I've also asked for a monthly coordination meeting with the planning team, and we did that last week. We had Kurt Weiland in, he's our building official. We had Vidya there, Patrick there, who's our planner, and even Mr. Maines and Mr. Burns there, because we have some issues with potentially needing some litigation. So we talked about all of those issues and how we can serve the community better and have just a better structure there. So those meetings were really very helpful, and doing that once a month, or if we find we don't need it once a month, every other month, it really will help us coordinate our efforts. And with code enforcement, it'll help the projects move along quicker, and we'll get the answers we need. So another issue, another item that I've put into the budget, and you'll see it's sort of spread out amongst the budget because staffing is under many different line items. But staffing and space issues are a concern. We're pretty crowded down there in the main office, especially the building department. Mary Bird, we could use 2 of her. She's great, but she's got about a 5x5 space to work in down there. And yes, she drags her files to other parts of the office, but she's really hindered with space, and we could use a second Mary Bird. So I'd like to have us look at that as far as staffing needs into the future. I've put $50,000 into the capital outlay fund, so we might consider improving another portion of the upstairs so that we have some more room, and how that plays out as far as space goes or build out or whatever. that's a decision to be made for the future. But I wanted us to start thinking about setting aside money and not just have things happen, have us plan for them to happen. So I thought that would be important. And then the salaries of staff. We've had some turnover lately, and that's difficult. I mean, it eats up time. It reduces our effectiveness customer service-wise, and I would like to see us look at more appropriate salaries for some of the staff down in the main office. So I did put in 6% as a placeholder for salary increases for the staff downstairs. And that's a placeholder, but I would like us to talk about it, and I'm really interested in having a salary study, perhaps done by the Personnel Committee, to come up with some recommendations of what would be appropriate for each of the positions. If we were to lose Mary Bird, or Dawn, or Jennifer, or, I mean, any of them, can you imagine the disarray? Because there's a lot of knowledge there that we would be losing, and to refill those positions, it would be very difficult. So it's not like I want to throw money around, but I just want to make sure the salaries that we have are appropriate, and I think some of them have started too little, and have, 2% of too little is still too little, or 3% of too little is still too little. So anyway, I want us to look at that as a committee and come up with a recommendation. So that's for that. As far as capital needs go, $50,000 won't get us very far, but if we want to improve the park, we think down there, we need to think about parking, we need to think about porta potties or restrooms, trash. I mean, there's a lot of things that we ought to be thinking about and planning for.
You'd be thinking about $1 million if you're thinking about that.
Okay, and hopefully we'll get some businesses to kick in all of that money when they decide to site on there. But the heating, air conditioning is bad in this building. I don't know that we have anything set aside for that. The community center needs improvements. And so it'd be nice to also have some matching funds to attract grants. So there's a lot of things that are sort of in this budget that you'll see spread throughout the various line items. And I don't know that it's important to pick and choose the line items unless you have some specific questions. But I'm really looking for your concepts, your priorities, and let's see if we can have them play out in this next budget. That's, I'll let the board kind of speak to that, or please email me later, or, and we can talk about it now, so all of that. So now I'd like to move to open the public hearing so we can have the community kind of speak to us about what their priorities are, how they'd like to see this community develop, and what they feel they might need to find this be a great place to live. So,
when are we going to have a chance to ask some questions?
Right after the public has an opportunity.
Thank you.
Ms. Bellinger, is this?
Maybe a couple-minute recess, bathroom? Is that now a good
Do
time?
you want to do that before the public hearing?
Can't in the public hearing.
Not after. We can do it after the
Okay.
public hearing, before we launch into it.
Okay.
Okay. How's that?
If you would propose it, I'll second it.
Don't we need to do that? We're in public hearing.
Pardon? You want to do it before we even open the public hearing?
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
5 minutes. I'll call a recess. 5 minutes. Thank you.
1 hour in, we have to have a recess? So 1 hour in and we have to have a recess? Yeah, exactly. What's with the, board? What is? Oh, very attractive. Yeah, we could put a blind up there. Let's put it in the budget. Oh, this.
It's a good word, Dan.
I dug through the records on Centerville.
Yeah.
I think I got it.
Oh, you, oh, I
I
guess
do got a proposal for a couple of those work.
the other one? Good enough. That works for me. I went through it again the other day. I think we're pretty close to being ready to go on it.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just wanted to have you check to make sure that we're kind of in the ballpark, just because somebody will ask.
I might add more information on it.
No, thanks for looking at it.
Then we're gonna, at the end of the year, we'll have to revisit contract.
So it's only going to run through December, right? Yeah. I'm sure it'll be these guys again, probably.
Well, there's one, the only thing is the amount, and that's not even that substantive, but like the amount has changed from $1,000 rental to $150.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to know that, maybe, but and then it's up to the publisher, so, and it's already changed. So, you know. But it's already changed and published that. Oh, you didn't change, okay. So, you know, you can just mention.
I don't know about you, think.
If you have specific things like, in addition to the ones that were published, there's a lot of.
Apparently.
Thank you. You make a good teacher, I know.
Okay, I'd like to call this, Ms. Otto's not back? Oh, I don't know, more than 5 minutes. Okay, she'll be back. There she comes. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting back to order. Now we have an opportunity for the public to come and speak on the fiscal year 2017-2018 budget. Would anyone like to come up and address anything?
Do we have to
this
call the
time?
public hearing? Do you have to open it?
Oh, yeah, I have to open it,
Okay.
so, yes. I make a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll support.
Okay, motion by Chockley, support by Chick. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Come on up. State your name and your address, and you have about 3 minutes. Yeah,
Doesn't sound like it.
there.
Yeah, I think it was on. Just hold it close to your mouth.
No. Pull it out and put it right up to your mouth. Mm. How's that?
Test 1, 2, test.
There we go. Maybe it's because I pushed this button over here.
What is the, electronics and I don't get along too well. My name is Andy Lakatos. I'm at 9249 Lakewood Drive. A little side note, I really appreciate that offer. But the concern that I have here, or the point that I'd like to make, it deals with the parks, or with our new park. I don't care how much it costs. As you know, I've already taken care of the park, helped with taking care of that sidewalk. But our park is a very, very focal point for all of us. The best thing that I ever heard was that we have beachfront property again, well, we never had it, I guess. So now we have beachfront property, which means we can go and walk into that water anytime we want. We may have to have tennis shoes on, but that's okay. But the idea here is we've already got community support from our vendors. They want to put some stuff out there. I'd like to propose that we bring in a citizens committee, and we put that in the request in the newsletter that goes out with the taxes, asking for people that want to get involved with this park and to really get involved so that we can maybe get into another, whether it's a GoFundMe account or whatever kind of account, so that we can get things moving. And sure, it moves slow. That big park over there is going to be a slow mover, but I'm certain that we can certainly put stuff together if we all have a positive attitude, and I mean all. So that's my point on that, but please get that in there on that citizens, and I'll be more than happy to be part of that.
Okay, we'll see what we can do. Thanks.
Mary Devlin, there we go. Mary Devlin, 9211 Brookside Drive. I'm noticing on the budget on page 3 at the top concerning the community center. My husband and I have been members of the community center for a very long time. And I notice on here, community center trips are set to decrease by $4,900 or 57% due to a lack of interest. I would like everyone to know it's not a lack of interest, it's a lack of money because we are all not wealthy, okay? And those trips,
Go ahead. No.
and those trips are very expensive. And so is there any way that you can understand, if you could take a look at what these trips cost, then you would understand what I'm talking about. Also, community center programs will also decrease in the 2017-2018 fiscal year by $3,500 or 23% due to a lack of interest. I don't know what you consider lack of interest. That parking lot is full. Most times, there are all kinds of programs on there for the young and the old as in your 90s, if you're that old, but there's all kinds of programs. And so there is not a lack of interest in our community center, and I really resent this being said on here. Also, the third thing is repair and maintenance fees are projected to decrease $3,500 due to a decrease in repairs needed over the past 2 fiscal years. So what happens if there's an emergency and extensive repair that's needed? You have to plan ahead for that, sort of like a rainy day fund for the community center. And lastly, down at the bottom of the page, where it says treasurer, deputy salaries, okay, it says, and then below that it says hospitalization expenses are projected to increase due to the deputy treasurer's enrollment into the township health care plan. Well, that is the only one on here that doesn't state what that increase is in dollar amounts. So that's another question. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sue Shank, and I live at 600 West Joy Road. I'm here tonight as the chair of the Land Preservation Committee. I want to thank you for creating the committee, which we would like to have become a commission. And I want to tell you that we have a plan, and so we will do our best to get you a written copy of our plan. We're just really getting moving here, and so we've got a little bit of a learning curve, and so we'll ask you for your support, and if you could just be patient with us, we'd appreciate it. I want to let you know that in Webster Township, and you can go, they have a page on their website, for every dollar that they invest in their land preservation program, $5 come into the community. And this is in the form of federal money, county money, or other sources. So to me, that seems like a pretty awesome, it's not really raising revenue, it's an economy raiser. And so I want you to know that we think that the program that we're envisioning is really going to be a net benefit for the community, and we thank you for your support.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Wow, okay. Thank you very much.
If I may, Madam Treasurer, I'd just like to add, since Ms. Devlin did bring up the treasurer, on page 3 on the summary of the notes, that is not correct. The 17% due to increase for additional duties, that was just, I think, a copy over that might have happened. That's not, it's just really 6% like everybody else, so.
Yeah.
And then we will make sure, and we'll talk, as you will, talk to Yvette to make sure she puts the increase for the hospitalization.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just, just housekeeping. I did ask Yvette going forward to make sure she page numbers everything. Puts page numbers on her documents, so she's aware that we like page numbers so that it's easy to reference in meetings. So I did ask her to.
You just said page 3. What?
I know, I manually put my page 3.
Okay.
And I do that, and I tell people, even if the computer, you forget to put them in the computer, just before you put them in the package, manually put page numbers on. So anyway, that's just some housekeeping on that regards.
The other thing I would like to see, I know because I did, in reviewing the budget and everything, you see the different percentages and everything that are highlighted for different individuals and everything. I would like to see that in a chart instead of through the budget, because if we're proposing to give individuals increases, I'd like to see the reason why. And I'd like to see, why are we giving some 6? Why are we giving some 2? Why are we giving some 3?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see that.
Mm-hmm. I know some of the contracts are, it's written in the contract, I believe, with police and fire, what their percentages are, and it's just been kind of a standard 3.5.
More interested in the personnel and the deputies and the staff.
Okay. Well, there hasn't been anything specific yet, so we're still talking about this. And I do want the Personnel Committee to do a salary survey. That's why there's not numbers. But I do remember last year, Mr. Fink included a chart with everyone and the percent and then the merit increase. And so I would like to look at that in the context of a salary study, though. So that would be, hopefully, I mean, that would be at the next meeting. So thank you for bringing that up, though. Ms. Chick.
You had said that you had some concerns, or you and, I don't know if it was Mr. Yeager or Yvette, that had concerns about when you were looking at the budget, why different line items were what they were. Can we have, I guess, some kind of, what are you concerned about that we should be looking at as well?
There's a couple of the budgets where things are being carried over to the new year. Like there was an amended budget. Actually, this is very close to the beginning, so you can see, this will be easy to see. It's page 3 of the budget, and you will see under plan review, under government shared services, there's plan review, and it has an amended budget of $5,800.
Oh, wait, where are you at now?
Now we're on this one with all the numbers.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if you look at that, you'll see the second line there under government shared services. It says plan review, $5,800, but there's been no activity in the entire year against that.
I don't see that.
What is that usually used for then?
Good question. That's what we're trying to figure out. That's why I said.
Because it wasn't appropriated the years before. That's
No.
why.
Wouldn't Mr. Yeager know, since he created the budget or he was part of creating the budget?
Right, but there is also a budget amendment document, like we're going to see a little bit later, that does describe when they do an amendment to the budget. And we've been looking at the description, but we haven't found those where that has been changed. So the miscellaneous building administration.
These were the problems I were having with this. When I came to your office and I told you this thing was screwed up, I couldn't figure it out between my packet and the, I couldn't figure it out. And you were busy.
Okay.
And
I asked other
people in the office. Nobody knew anything about it. Now, how did we get from here to here?
There was a question, and so I'm bringing this up as an example.
Well, I thought we were going to talk about this.
We're going to talk about whatever anybody wants to have questions about.
Well, I wished
So-
I wished I could follow this, but
Okay, Mr.
without any
Dockett.
numbers and with my packet screwed up, it's pretty difficult.
Okay, here we are, page 3 of the budget report that you have in your packet. It's stapled. So you'll see there the $5,800. There's a $3,000 under miscellaneous building administration. When you go down under contractual services at the bottom, you will see an amended budget for $30,000. And so that was just carried over to 2017, but we don't know exactly what that was supposed to be used for. And the question is, are we miscategorizing some expenses and then they're being
What
put in-
page are you on now?
I'm still on the same page, Mr. Dacus.
Well, there's no page numbers. I mean, how do we know where we're at?
Count to 3,
Huh?
okay? Count to 3. Here's the first page, here's the second page, and then the third page.
1, 2, 3.
No.
1, 2, 3. What?
Okay, 3, okay. So anyway, there's
Where does it say
$30,000 there. And,
Where's it say 3?
Oh,
well,
so-
somebody see, now you know how to do it. You got numbers on yours. I don't have any numbers.
Excuse
I
me.
know.
okay, wait, come on.
And the supervisor couldn't help me out. So, I mean, I'd like to know how I'm supposed to follow this.
Okay, so anyway, you'll see that we're running a deficit at the end of that budget there on page 4. And if we removed all of those funds, all of those line items where we don't know what they're for, we would not be running a deficit there. So these are some things that I need to work out and we need to understand what those are and make sure that we have categorized our expenses properly. And, so there's things like that throughout the budget that you'll notice, but we know they exist there, and we're going to be working on them. So, but if you want to call any of those to our attention, we will be happy to make sure that it gets taken care of. Ms. Otto?
So, I'll do the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, page 5. It's in Department 900, capital outlay. It's streetscaping, and we have
Right.
$25,000 for McKenna planning. What is that specifically for?
This is the DDA fund. This is the DDA budget. And this is what we had, that the DDA approved for them to do the downtown strategic plan that they're currently working on.
And we call it, I guess it just sounds weird
It's
that
beautifying.
it's beautifying. Okay.
Yeah. Now, the beautification one,
It's
the
20,000.
DDA also approved $500 for the Main Street beautification.
Right, that's fine.
And those two things came out of streetscaping. Now,
That's why I was wondering, why did we put it in streetscaping?
because we couldn't figure out what other
Where to
line
put
item
it?
to put them in. If you look at what's
It
available.
just looked odd, that's
Right.
why.
And so the controller and I would like to make the line items more appropriate to what we're
Descriptive.
putting into. And when you look at some of these,
That
you
has
go,
always been our problem in the past.
it has been a problem. So we're going to be diligent about that, so we understand what exactly is going into there. When you look at operating costs and you go other professional fees, what is that? So we want to know, we want to make sure that this is as transparent as it can be. And so we are working on improving the way some of these line items are
So
described.
are we limited to what the program itself will allow, or you can put in any?
Because that's what
Okay, I got a
the
yes and a
problem
no, yeah.
There is a great, a huge list that we can choose from, but we still have to make sure that it makes sense to what we're going to put in there, so.
Yeah, because to me, the $500 makes sense in the streetscaping. I'm going to mess that up.
So there's a no.
But the $25,000 for McKenna planning, to me, that's more contracted services,
Well, it could
even
be
though
on-
it's in the DDA. That's all I'm saying, is it was just odd to see it there.
Right, and we recognize that. We're just trying to make some improvements, but we couldn't not put the money in here so that you could, we wanted
Okay.
you to see it, but we are going to fix these problems, if not in this budget, in the next one. And in fact, we probably won't be paying that much out for the McKenna planning until next fiscal year. So hopefully we'll be able to correct these things going forward. Ms. Zelnick?
So my recommendation is I know you're investigating it, but if we have, like you brought up, the 30,000, and we don't know what it is, take it out of the budget. And we haven't had any activity over the last years, take it out. I mean, this is our best review at this point in time. And we need to get do the best we can. And if turns out, it was a huge, we know what the 20,000, or it comes up that we need it, then we see if there's somewhere else in the budget we can take to accommodate that 20,000. And the other thing is I know there's a tendency from a revenue side, to underestimate revenue. That's kind of been what has happened in the past, so I have been told. I disagree with that. Put in the best estimate that the revenue is, and then you can say, because right now we're running a deficit. Maybe if we have our best estimate of the revenue, take out the costs that we haven't had over the last year, we're not running a deficit. I think, again, you do your best estimate and knowledge at this point in time, and if revenue, don't understate revenue, so you have a cushion later. It just prevents maybe things getting in the budget now. There's two philosophies. People say, underestimate revenue and maybe overestimate cost. I'm of the theory as you do the best you know at the time you're doing it. And then if something occurs later that needs to be addressed, then it's addressed. So I would like to see, a look at revenue to go up a little bit, and then these costs that you're talking about, that there isn't anything, to remove them. And, you know, if it turns out, you know, we need it, then we need to, again, amend the budget and have that discussion at that point in time. So that's my overall recommendation.
I agree with that, thank you. Ms. Manley?
On the items, the amended items, have we looked through the minutes to see what those could possibly be? Because any kind of budget amendment needs to get voted on, right?
Right, and it actually, you'll see later in your packet, there is a budget amendment that we need to actually pass tonight. So you'll see what a resolution looks like for an amendment.
But for like the previous ones that we don't.
The previous ones exist in the computers, and we have printed them out, and so you'll get to see the description here.
For like the 30,000?
We're looking for that.
Okay.
Yes, we're looking for that, but we're going through some documents from last year to find them. So you'll see how it's set up in this document when we do the resolution, and then these documents are what we're looking at this point.
So I guess to follow up on, if I may, Ms. Manley and Madam Supervisor, so if it was amended budget, there needs to be a resolution in the resolution book.
There should be.
From the past.
There has to be.
There should be. There has to be.
Yeah.
Well, there should be.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
well, so, and you've looked at the resolution book and you can't find it?
Or minutes?
I have not. Yvette's looking at it.
Okay.
Our controller.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
She's looking for that. And she knows they exist, and she knows how this works, so, yes.
I was just thinking of ways to help find it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we can ask Rick, too. Ms. Chick?
I just get a little, I will use Mary's example. Actually, the repairs and maintenance fees for the community center are decreased to $3,500 due to, we're talking about a year, so from June to next June, right? And or the planner fees will be zero in 2017, 2018. Are we assuming that we're not going to be charging any planner fees for the parks over the next years? To me, I'm uncomfortable using assumptions that something's not going to happen. And there was actually there was a number of them in the beginning that different line items were zeroed out, and I thought, shouldn't we be putting money aside in case something happens?
We can always amend the budget later.
Right, I understand that, but then you're coming before the board all the time asking for more money, Do we have a rainy day fund?
Well, that's capital outlay. I mean, there is a rainy day in here, a contingency fund is in here. It's got $5,000 in it. Right.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of kind of input that we're looking for to see if we can improve this. But if we're not going to have a planner working with a parks plan this year, then we wouldn't need to necessarily put it in there. But we could amend it if it should come up. Can always amend the budget.
Or even save it for when we do need it.
Save it that's why I put the 50,000 in capital outlay. So if we could go back to Miss Yvette Patrick's paper. We could go through this, or if we just have questions.
Yeah, I just have a note.
Go ahead.
Comment. On page 8, we have, and this is in the fire fund, there's a sale of fixed asset, and it was $90,000. I'm assuming, Bill, that we're going to be selling a fire truck or something. A couple, okay. Just like we're doing on these other ones, where there's a change or something that is different that we didn't do the previous year, we need to have a comment in there of what that is. Because at first I thought, what is $90,000 that we're selling? And then I had to look, oh, it's the fire fund. So.
Okay. We'll add comments when there's something different
Oh,
or
you're coming up
interesting.
to page 8. Are you on here?
Yes.
How are you getting that pay? Are you counting Are you doing both sides?
Yes, I numbered my pages.
There's 2, 4.
As I mentioned, to Yvette, page number.
Yeah.
It's 90,000.
That says football Saturday.
No, that's the one up above.
Okay.
Where does it say fire truck?
It doesn't say, well, fire fund, that's where the fund is coming out of. It's where it says sale of fixed
Okay.
asset. I just want them to comment what that fixed asset
And
is.
what's your question?
I just wanted to, that we comment what the fixed asset is, so we know in the future what it is. That we know it's fire trucks. I don't care which one.
Okay.
They can just put fire trucks.
Okay. So, Ms. Bellinger, go ahead.
I'm curious about the 6% increase for the office people that's mentioned in here in the budget. A lot of these people, I understand, they're appointed by officers as opposed to being hired. So they're appointed individuals. And another thing, 6% is, if there is a pay increase to have, perhaps it should maybe correspond to cost of living if one is indeed considered.
I think cost of living is about 3% at this point. So it's like no raise at all if you're just getting 3%. So, but it, you know.
So actually, I'm the one that recommended the 6% for the office staff. In particular,
It should be
Tammy, who is at the senior center, Mary Bird, our building, Don, the deputy treasurer, and Christina, the deputy clerk. And then there's Jennifer, which I believe the supervisor recommended an 8%. Here's my theory. I've been in the office for about 7 months. Under our structure of government, the deputy treasurer and the deputy clerk basically do the everyday, today jobs. If they were to get up and leave, we would have a big learning curve. We have just lost our front desk person, and that has, you know, every time you lose someone, it really puts an imposition on the staff. So I think personally, I've been there, I've watched people work, I think they do a very good job. Certainly, the deputy treasurer has taken on some more responsibilities than were done previously by the other treasurer. So that's kind of the basis I did. I just look at it and say, these are very important people. It's customer service. When one person leaves, the customer service to our citizens decreases. Having the front desk person not there, people maybe not be answering the phones, and if people are okay with that, that's fine. But we are getting into our tax season, so it just is very important that I think people are recognized for doing a job and keeping the township running. And I think turnover is one of the most costly items for any operation, and we are a very small operation in staff at the township offices.
The deputies are actually appointed by the officers. And it can
you are
be
correct.
removed or appointed at any time by the officers without any approval or disapproval of the board.
That is correct. The salary needs to be approved by the board for both the deputy clerk and the deputy treasurer, but the appointment does not.
Correct.
However,
That's what supervision's all about. You're gonna have people leaving. That's what you're supposed to do.
right.
The people in supervision are the ones that have to keep the thing going.
Yep.
People aren't gonna stay in a job. We all know people don't stay in
And we
jobs.
are working on
Year
desk
after
procedures
year.
that people leave.
Well,
So-
people leave. There's no doubt about it.
And so we're
So-
just trying to make sure we keep them, because they're good. If they're not so good, we'd say leave.
Well, you
Anyway.
can say that you think there should get 6 or 8%.
I-
That doesn't mean that
I
I
agree.
think that.
I
I don't
agree.
think that.
I agree. That's my
Okay,
proposal.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's yours, but my opinion is just as valid.
Ms. Chick.
Yeah, real quickly, being in the business world for over 25 years, it is less about a percentage or cost of living increase and more about competitive wages, because people are going to go, even if they like the job, where they can make the most money for the same type of work. So that they'll be, if they're appreciated by the income that they're getting by their employer, they will stay. So I would be more interested in seeing what other townships charge or pay their staff.
Ms. Otto.
I know when we started this in the previous board, many of the people in the office were underpaid. They were hired on at a very low wage. I mean, it was almost across the board. And I have to say kudos to Howard because he did fight very hard to get salaries increased for the staff. But I'd like to see it more fairly. I'd like to see us do it in a more fair way than onesie, twosie type thing. Let's look at it as a totality and keep it going forward. Is that we put it into practice, that we provide increases and performance evaluations and all that, and award those who are doing good work, as opposed to just picking and choose. Before, I think we just picked and chose which ones would get the raise and which ones wouldn't, and I didn't like that as much.
Right. And that's why the 6% is really a placeholder. I want to look at it. I know we've got a gentleman in the wastewater treatment plant who started at a wage that was potentially too low, because the documents that we were looking at were old, and there has been cost of living increases. So we do need to be looking at some of these things to make it viable, for our staff to stay. We don't want to lose them. We'd be up the creek if we lost Jennifer, for instance.
No, no kidding.
Right. And she's, all of our staff is amazing, but and we can do better cross-training so that if we have someone out sick or on vacation, that would be helpful to have other people take over, and they do. With the front desk person being gone, Mary has to jump up. You can be working in the middle of a project, but if someone comes to the counter, they've got to jump up and be served, and that actually reduces your efficiency. So we really need to have an appropriate level of staffing in the office so that we don't have that kind of thing happening all the time. And our new desk person, front desk person, we're going to have them in 5 days a week, from 10 until 4:30, which will really help that situation out, because right now, 2 days a week, we're missing one person in the office.
Yeah.
So that's really going to be helpful, and I'm so excited about these new people in the office to help us out. That's great. Ms. Bellinger.
Other items on the proposed budget that came to mind, as if I'm correct, I see $9,000 allocated possibly towards purchasing a vehicle for township use. I do not approve of that or agree with that. I know what we do now, it's people use their vehicle and they get reimbursed for the mileage. With purchasing a vehicle, then you have insurance, you have maintenance, and so forth to contend with that, and it's just more stuff that we have to maintain and take care of. The other thing is, I'm curious, I do not know what is the current rate of our stenographer per hour, and what is that current rate, and is that expected to maintain the same, or is there an increase in that, or a decrease? I was curious.
Right.
And I do have questions about the People's Express funding, and where do they get their money? How much do they receive? Not just from us, but from what is the other sources, as well as they do charge a small amount for actual individuals using the service. So these are some questions and thoughts I have right now regarding this budget. I'm sure there's probably other questions that will come up.
Okay. The reason the car was recommended, and it's one of the police cars that could have been auctioned off. We looked into what it might cost to insure it, and gas, and repairs. And I think that, and I have to put a spreadsheet together for y'all, but I think that we would be saving money by doing that. And when we're paying people, like our code enforcement, for instance, to drive around at 53.5 cents a mile around the township, that adds up pretty fast. If you look at mileage is in here that people have to drive, if you're going back and forth to the post office, the bank, whatever, if you add up all the mileages, they could have taken the car I want to do an evaluation of that to see if it's appropriate. If it's not appropriate for us to have the car, then Chief can auction it off.
Well, how could it be appropriate? We just hired the guy, and we told him, you pay for your car,
No.
everything, we'll just pay you mileage. This was just a month or two ago. So now you want to change it. I don't get it. We're not going to be able to insure a car and pay the tires and maintenance and mufflers and.
Okay, that's your opinion, Mr. Dockett. But
Well,
we are looking into it.
we just hired the guy, and we hired him, and we told him what he was going to do. He's going to drive his own car.
He doesn't need to drive his own car.
Yes, when we hired him, that's what he
That's fine.
was going to do.
But
right?
if we can save money.
Am I wrong there? We just hired the guy, and
We
we
said
told
he
him.
could drive his own car. It's getting beat up on our terrible roads out there.
Well,
You know, so he'd
then
be
why
very
don't-
happy to have another car to drive. So we'll look into it. If it makes sense, we'll
Well, it
do it.
doesn't make sense
If
to
it
tell them one thing
doesn't
and
make
hire them,
sense,
and 30
we
days
won't.
later,
Thank you, Mr. Dockett. Okay.
start talking about buying them a car. That does not make sense.
Anyone else? Ms. Manley? Oh,
Go ahead.
To answer Ton's question, I don't know what page it's on, but it does have for recording secretary, her amount per meeting, and for the video operator per meeting. So it is in there.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
curious, is it more than last year, or is it, that's what I wasn't sure. I
It's
didn't
the
know if
same
it was the
rate.
same. Okay,
Same rate.
that's
It's
just
$195 until 10 o'clock, and at 10 o'clock, she gets another $125. That's $320. That's what she gets. It's in the paperwork here.
Thank you.
so we're going to work really hard to get done by 10.
So
Thank you.
was she making 195 before?
Yes.
Well, then she should be
Thank you.
very happy that we got you, Marlene, because she's going to make a lot of $125.
Okay, anybody else? We're going to do, okay.
I have a question, Madam
Yes,
Supervisor.
please.
So, we brought up salaries. So, what are we going to put in the budget for salaries?
What are we
I
going to
mean,
what?
so we're bringing up these items. How do we resolve them so that we bring back the budget for the next meeting that they've been resolved? So salaries, 6%, is it 3%, is it nothing until we do the study? So what's the answer?
When does this come back before us?
In 2 weeks. And
Okay.
we have to adopt it in 2 weeks, or
Okay.
we will be unfunded.
Okay.
And so,
We
but
could probably do
we-
something in 2 weeks.
right,
Yeah,
and we can
Okay.
amend.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
we can amend it, but, so we brought up salaries. So again, I'm looking for, what do we do for the budget?
Yeah.
Right.
I will just let you know that we probably won't find too much through the townships, because
know.
if you go on the
We're very
MTA,
different. I know.
nobody reports anything to the township.
Very
So,
little, and then we're a different structure too. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
how
I
many
would look at
townships?
people that are more our structure and
Right.
call them.
Right.
That we just call them.
So, okay, so the salaries are going to be addressed, and we'll have a proposal more on next week. Vehicle.
Yes.
So we're having a debate on the vehicle. So how do we resolve that? What is going to be the answer?
We need more information.
I think we
We need
should
more
pull that
information.
off of there, and we just go ahead and we make an amendment in the future if we decide we really want to get a vehicle.
Or see how much information we have by the next meeting.
So I would think,
Yeah.
my personal thought is on the vehicle, there has to be a time frame before chief gets rid of it. And that's just an assumption.
We can be flexible.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So the vehicle, again, is it in or out? How do we resolve that?
Put a
That's what I'm
spreadsheet
looking
together.
for. Okay.
Yeah.
So that'll be
we'll get some
something.
data.
Okay. More data on that one.
More
All right.
data.
Yeah.
Stenographer, and I can get you more data on the PEX about the funding and all that. It doesn't come to mind on that. But so if we have items, like, again, my proposal is revenue should be, maxed to what it is. Anything that we don't understand should be taken out. Salaries are going to be addressed. The vehicle will have more data, and anything else.
Yeah.
That's just
I would
my
make
thought.
sure that on the vehicle, and this is just my thoughts on it, is to make sure that he does have his own insurance. Hear me out, please.
Okay, he does.
That he does have his own insurance, and that he is able, under his own insurance, to drive another vehicle. Because what will happen is if we go and get insurance on this vehicle, it'll skyrocket, because we're insuring somebody that we don't know is insurable.
Okay, I'm sure Chief can give us some guidance on that, because
Well, it's a
you,
little bit different
yeah.
because it's their job. You're providing a company car for
Mhm.
somebody that it is normally not provided to them.
I've talked to the insurance company
Okay.
already, and she gave me a rate.
Okay.
For one day a week.
So just make sure that that we keep it as low as possible.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I was saying.
Of course.
And
There's ways to work around it.
Mhm.
it won't just be the ordinance officer driving that vehicle. It'll be people running to the bank, people running to meetings.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not just this one person. I mean, I think it's a great idea.
Right. For instance, when.
I don't think it's a great idea.
Okay, when Yvette went to the BSA training for 2 days,
Right.
it cost us $410 because of the distance. So, we need to be looking at that, because we do drive, and some of us go to Lansing for meetings, and, so there's a significant cost there. Yes, we're gonna pay for gas, but we need to put a spreadsheet together and understand if it will be a benefit.
Wrong. I have a lot of questions on this thing when we get ready to do this.
Okay, we're gonna talk about this another 10 minutes, because I would like to.
Are we
Oh,
closing
we
the
never
public
closed the
hearing
public
for
hearing, right.
discussion?
We had discussion.
Okay.
Well, that's
We've
not
had a
much
lot of
time.
discussion, but, okay, let's officially close the public hearing and finish our discussion in 10 minutes. Okay, we have 10 minutes, because we've got a lot more stuff to
Well,
get
I
through.
got a lot of questions here, and I've
Okay.
been waiting.
And you can come and sit with me, too, after the meeting, and we'll go through them.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I want you on the record. I don't trust you.
Okay, let's go. Oh, let me close the public hearing. I will move that we close the public hearing.
Support.
Okay, motion by Chockley, support by Chick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Dockett.
Okay. You have on here on the page 2, Board of Review, the budget and tribunals and drains has decreased by $15,080, 43%. Well, we are paying $88,000 for a drain. How do you square that?
Let me tell you, that is a payment of the taxes on the community.
Excuse me, I can't.
That is the payment, it's being decreased by $15,080. It's because last fiscal year, we had to pay the taxes on the community park, and we won't have to do that in the next fiscal year.
No, but we're gonna lose $23,000 every year from now on. So how in the world could we be making money if we're not gonna be paid the $23,000 that we got every year? I mean, this doesn't make sense.
Okay,
It's
what's
pretty
your next?
silly. Well, I mean, can you tell me how that works? We lost $23,000?
We're going to put an RFP out, and we're going to have private investments in the community park. Okay, now, you don't have to believe it, but let's move on to the next question you might have.
Well, I mean, it doesn't make sense when you put stuff like this in here, when we lost $23,000.
If I, Madam Supervisor, aren't these two different things? This is under the Board of Review. So we don't anticipate to have the trials. Is that correct? I mean,
That's, it's an odd, okay, that's another one of those weird things where it got put under tribunals and drains, but that's where the taxes go, according to Rick Yeager. So I don't think that makes sense. We might look at a different title for that, because we also paid taxes on those 3 parcels we bought in the summer homes area, but anyway.
Did it come out of that too?
It did. That's where it got put. So when you start to get into the minutia of this budget, you go, well, okay, and we'd like to make it more transparent in the future. Okay,
so it's not really Board of Review items.
No, it's not.
Capital outlay, okay, we got $17,136 for the tower rental. And Wagner gets $1,000 of that money, and the general fund gets 400 a year. I'm talking about a year. 13,000 Wagner gets. The general fund gets 4,000. Excuse me. I would like to see this money put in a lockbox so that when we need a septic tank and drain field out there, or we need a parking lot, or we need the building painted, or we have some other catastrophe out on North Territorial, that we have the money to fix this. I don't believe Wagner should get $1,100 a month and for him to blow, and we get $400 a month that goes in the general fund. It don't make sense to me.
Okay.
It would be nice to have that in a separate account to apply to that property, 2727 North Territorial.
That is correct.
That doesn't,
that's what I
any
would like.
maintenance on that
Pardon?
firehouse come
Yes.
out of the fire department budget?
Maintenance on that building?
I don't know.
Bill, doesn't that come out of your budget?
The repairs of the building?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so why isn't it that he can't have it in his, get the revenue from that? Because that's really why we voted for it, so he could have the revenue for it to pay for that building.
Well, if anything catastrophe happens out there, it's gonna be paid for out of the general fund. I'm pretty sure about that.
Well, I'd really enjoy it if we took all the repairs and maintenance out of the fire fund and turned that over to the general fund. Mr. Dockett, if that would, we need a $40,000 roof right now.
Well, yeah, but we're not gonna have any money if they're giving you $1,100 a month, you know, and you're getting rid of that, and the township's getting rid of $400.
Well, he's saying that
Do you need
the
a
fire department
GoFundMe
will pay
account?
for the repair work on the building.
Well, that's all I have.
That's all you have. Okay.
If we may.
There was one more thing, sorry. I got it out here and I lost track of it. I want this in the minutes. I asked Lenore on her page here, I asked her that I'd like to have the fund balance put on here. This was 3 or 4 months ago. She said she would do it, but I don't see it. So I asked her tonight. She said she will make sure that it's going to be on here from now on. The fund balance will be on Lenore's report. I would like to see that every month. Thank you very much. And be sure and put it in the minutes. Thank you.
I just thought you wanted me to verbally tell you that, so now that I know you want it physically on the report, we're all on the same page.
Thank you very much. You promised me.
Okay, Ms. Bellinger.
I have not seen it, so I just have a question. Is there, there's been a, thank you. There's been a solicitation to add funds to the Farmland Preservation Committee. This is not proposed at this point in our budget, is that correct?
We were trying to find a location in the budget for it. There's been the Recreation Board was established in the budget with its own department. And we haven't had...
Recreation Board means
The
farmland?
Parks and Recreation Board.
I understand that, but farmland preservation is what I'm referring to right now.
They have not been established as a separate entity in the budget, but I'm going to recommend that occur.
I do oppose that,
Okay,
the
that's fine.
spending
You
of
can
tax
oppose
money
it.
for that, and I do not want to see taxpayers, if they want to assist farmers to do preserve or whatnot with their land, I believe that should be a private outreach.
Okay.
You know, private organizations can get money together and assist and educate the farmers or whatnot on how to make use of their land in other manners.
Okay.
I don't believe it should be general fund money.
That's
Thank you.
fine. Okay, thank you. Do we have any more comments on the budget before we move ahead and finish the rest of our meeting?
I would just like to go back to the Board of Review, and actually is noted in there why it was reduced. It was reduced for the property taxes that was paid on the purchase, so it does indicate that. Now, I think there is another question, though, and Mr. Dockett may be alluding to it as well, or stated it, was for the Horseshoe Lake drain, is that in the budget? And where is it in the budget?
Oh, the return of the money for the Horseshoe Lake Drain?
Nope.
No?
The culvert, is that in the budget, and where is it in the budget?
What, the culvert?
They're not-
Yes,
The
that's in there, it's
83,000.
under road, it's
Okay,
under
so it
road.
was included in the road. I thought it was, I just wanted to make sure.
It is, it's listed as $30,000, but it's on one of the line items here.
Okay.
Yeah, 88,000.
Well, right.
Well,
We have
the
to do 30,000
80,000
for 3 years.
It's over
Right,
3 years.
correct.
It's over 3 years,
They'll
so.
finance it at a finance charge, correct?
Yeah.
I'm just saying what it says in
Okay,
here.
I just wanted to
It
make sure.
doesn't say 33.
Right,
No.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. So are we all set? I am open to more comments and comments from the public for what they'd like to see. So please feel free to email me, and Lenore and I and Yvette will be working on this some more. And any department heads that felt that their budget wasn't as we had discussed, I know I sat down with some of them, and I'm not sure that everything got translated because that was before our controller came on. Just let me know.
I do have one more comment.
Go ahead.
So, and actually, this one is going to be hard to find. So, underneath the general fund, there is something called tax administration fees. This is 1% of the total taxes that we are collected. This is a revenue that we get. Again, it has been collected for a very long time, and the resolution books that are readily available in the offices in 2006 to 2014. So the resolution by the board was done before that. I recall, but I could be certainly mistaken, that it was somewhere in 1998, but that is purely an estimate and a guess. So, is this something that the board wants to continue to collect?
Is this the fee that's added to everybody's tax?
That's
Is
correct.
it 1%? It seems like double dipping, kind of. It's something that perhaps should be removed, since they already are paying for the service of their taxes being collected by the
So
millage.
the taxes are to cover the assessing and the board of review, as well as the treasurer's department. So I believe that cost comes up to, let me see if I have it handy. I don't know. So the full cost for that is basically $213,000 that it would cost to have the treasury department, the assessing department, and the board of review. So if we look in the budget right now, it's projected to be $213,608. This administration fee is $140,000. So that still does leave us a deficit for those 3 departments of $73,608. Again, the administration fee was put into place to offset the cost of the collecting unit in assessing the property values and collecting the property taxes levy and in the review of the appeal process. So that was the intent, and if I do recall, but it is, again, I'm talking in 1998, is when state funding went down. So they said that the taxing entities could add this administration tax to offset the cost of collecting the taxes. So that's a little background on there. So even with us collecting it, it is a deficit of running those 3 departments of $73,000.
How much?
$73,000.
But that,
7,000?
73,000. So anyway, it was been brought up.
Yep.
And is this something we want to keep in? It certainly is a large budget item of $140,000.
Right,
So-
it is.
Madam Treasurer, if I may,
Yes.
just a little bit more background
Sure.
on that. The 1% was originally enacted because we don't only collect taxes for ourselves, we collect taxes for other entities as well. And so that 1% was created to cover us for essentially collecting other people's taxes. Our taxes obviously are supposed to cover our services, but the 1% was intended to make us whole for the fact that we collect for other entities as well.
Right. Well, that's a good point, because
the
most of
other
our taxes we
entities,
collect are for other
Like
entities.
South Lyon
Dockett.
Schools, they pay extra, they pay our treasurer extra. Is that correct?
We get $2.50 per tax bill that we send out for Whitmore Lake Schools.
They pay, as far as I know, we collect for them, but they pay.
Okay, that's
So
good
it's
enough.
just an item that has been brought up for discussion. And I thought I would bring it out,
Mhm.
that it's been in place for a very long time.
Important
And-
item, thanks for bringing it up.
Okay. There's usually some reason to a lot of the things that happen.
Yep,
And, you
but
know,
I-
just looking at it on the surface, you sort of wonder sometimes.
Yep.
But it's helpful to have the explanations.
Yep, and I appreciate Mr. Main's adding his comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One thing that needs to be remembered about all these little nibbles here and nibbles there is ultimately they are a way of growing government, and that is ultimately the desire of government is to grow itself. And this is why people need to be questioning and keep these things in check.
Okay.
That's the truth of it.
Okay. I would like to mention at the last thing here for the budget, because we're going to move on, that our township, for our general fund budget, we only levy .79, I even have a list somewhere, .79 mills approximately, and that only brings in $268,000 a year. $268,000. So if we didn't get any state revenue sharing and some of these other fees that we do receive, it'd be pretty difficult to operate. We do have buildings, we have to heat and cool, and we have employees to pay. So $268,000 is all that comes in from that .79 mills that we collect from our taxpayers here.
The
Okay,
question
moving
is-
on.
The question is, what is state revenue sharing? It's
in
them
there.
giving us back some of the money they took from us.
Okay, but we can't change that part.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars we get
Okay.
from the state.
No, but you have to understand, if you look at the previous 3 years, this year we got a very nice, for $661,000. That's
That's right.
nice in comparison to where we were. So they've made some changes at the state to give back more to the township, so.
Yep, that's a good thing.
Okay.
Well, we got $1.5 million budget, don't we?
Amendments, okay.
Doesn't the township get $1.5 million a year
$1 million.
through taxes? I mean, that's our budget.
We will
For the
about
township.
1.2 million with
Okay,
all of the stuff that
1.2.
comes in. And
And-
that's the fees in the building
The
department.
police
that's
department gets $1.5
everything.
million.
Okay, we're gonna move on now,
Wagner
Mr.
gets-
Dockett.
Wagner gets $850,000.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the amendment to the fiscal 2017 year budget. And we need to do this, and we may have another one at our next meeting, but we need to do this to make sure that we're not in deficit in any of our departments. And that's very important for our auditing function that comes in August. So if Ms. Zelnick wanted to speak to that anymore, you're welcome to. Otherwise, I would like to make a motion to adopt this.
No, I don't really, a lot of it was in the fire.
What
Medical rescue was a lot of the numbers. In particular, there was a large grant
What-
received.
What page are we
We're
on?
on this thing here, Wayne?
Yeah.
We're on this. There's a typo. I want to address the typo.
Okay.
This one?
Number one. This
Number
one.
I got 2, 3.
Oh, yeah, that's it, yeah.
Where's it?
This-
There we go. Okay.
There's a typo.
Where? In
On the word, under regular amendment, the word is gear. I believe it meant to be year, perhaps.
Where?
In the middle of the third page, it says, under regular amendment, revenue. The
Oh,
last word says gear.
it was a uniforms/gear. And
Turnout gear.
turnout gear. Mhm.
It's correct.
That is okay, great.
Yeah, okay, it was gear. Okay.
So again, most of the amendments were in the fire department or medical rescue, and I think Yvette worked with you quite a bit on that to get
Yes.
them. And it was a lot at your request, some of the,
Yeah, we
Yes.
received a grant after last year's budget was approved, that we had to, and we were the fiduciary for a regional grant, so that's why the number is so large. And we've just about completed that grant process for this year, so that's why you see such a big number there.
Okay.
yeah, if I just, I mean, it may, so if you look at basically page 3, and it's under for the general fund, just for the public gets an appreciation of how important it is to do these transfers. There is a park, so it increased the planner fees by $184 because we're actually over budget by $184. And that's how important it is that these be done, even for what may seem to be a small dollar amount in an overall budget. We're talking about, and I do believe there might be one, $29 as well. So just
So it doesn't make them operate in the red.
right. So just to show the significance of the ensuring that the budget transfers are identified and done. It's even dollars as low as $29 needs to be done.
I need a clarification. What do you have to say? What did Wagner say about this? Are you talking about this $258,000 that you just got? On the pay, on the bills that are paid? What did we pay $258,180 for Wagner?
I believe that's the grant. So that was on the expenditure side. There would have been a significant revenue of about the same amount on the revenue side for grant income.
How could you spend that much money on turnout gear?
Because we were the fiduciary for a regional grant for 7 fire departments. So there was 116 sets of gear. Northfield Township only got 20 sets of that. All of the other departments, including Northfield Township, paid 10% of that matching portion. And they all paid their 10% back to us, and that was in the grant revenue.
So it's bookkeeping.
It's all bookkeeping.
Well, I was about ready to pass out. 258.
I've been waiting for you to get on me.
Pass out?
We didn't get to the minutes yet. We didn't get to the bills yet.
Okay. Are there any other questions about any of these amendments here before I make a motion to adopt the resolution?
No, I was going to make the motion, but go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay.
It'd
All right.
be nice to have somebody else do it once in a while.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Township of Northfield, Michigan, a resolution of the Township of Northfield, Washtenaw County, Michigan, amending the 2017 budget within the Medical Rescue Fund.
I'll support.
Second.
I don't see any price on here. I don't see any figures on here.
1,000,
Right.
do you need a figure?
So,
Well, I mean, what are we voting on?
we're voting on the resolution 17 dash, and it's
Yep.
565. Yep.
Where's that at?
Amending the budget, okay. Okay, so Ms.
It's
Chick
1,000
motioned.
yeah, $1,844, right? Is the amended amount to the
bottom.
contribution to the fund balance?
I would just
As
say,
provided
Just
in the
adopt-
packet.
As
Is
provided in the
amendment four.
packet.
Mhm.
Okay.
because you have to go down every line item
Yeah.
and say what it
Yep.
is.
What are we voting on?
We're voting on
The resolution to amend.
Yeah, and what's the figure? What's the cost?
You would
As
have to go
provided.
down each line item on the amendment. So go to Amendment 4, and it lists down what all the line items are, the increases, decreases, that type of thing.
So
Well,
we're
I
just,
mean, but we don't know what it is.
the amounts are in the packet, so the motion is amended to say, as provided in the packet.
Well, yes, but I don't even know how much that is. I think we should need to know what the figure is.
Okay, so the beginning fund balance was 65,724. The ending fund balance would have been 50,186.
Okay. That's for the DDA.
That's for the,
That's
yeah.
the DDA.
Yep.
See, that's the problem. You would have to go through each
Each
section
item.
Yeah.
in order to do
Yep.
this.
Yeah,
Yep.
so,
And you can't just come up with a
We can
total.
highlight it for you, right?
right.
Can we just show 'em?
So the resolution states the medical rescue.
Right, at the top.
Yes,
was
so
noticing that
we
myself.
need to make a resolution
For the whole,
for each
the,
one of them.
for Amendment 4.
Yes.
Just call it Amendment 4.
Yeah.
Right, amending the 2017 budget, cross off within the medical rescue.
Yeah, where's the amendment for on this,
It's not
on my,
Right here.
It's on the
It's
first page.
Resolution 17-5, oops, I'm sorry, I'm wrong, sorry. It's not on here.
Yeah, it's not on here.
No,
That's-
it's
it's not on the agenda.
It says
It's the-
amendments to budget.
Okay, it's the first item, number 1, amendments to fiscal. Oh, okay, but
That's the point.
I'm letting you know that it's Resolution 17-565. Okay, now we need to, okay, we had a motion by Chick, and I'll support it, support by Chalkley, and we will need a roll call vote.
You better believe it. I
Okay.
mean, there's no figures on here.
Ms.
I'm not
Manley,
voting
call the roll.
Chick,
Yes?
Bellinger,
No.
Zelenak,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Docket,
No.
Manley, yes. Chockley,
Yes, it passes. Thank you.
We don't know what we passed. We don't know how much money we spent. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you. Next item is the civic event permit, the 4th of July parade. I would like to make a motion, why don't you do it, Jackie?
I can't make
She-
a motion.
oh, you
I have
can't?
to-
Oh, 'cause you have to
I have to
abstain?
abstain,
Okay, okay.
I don't know, sure if I do.
because I'm on the
Do you?
committee. I
I'm
filled
not
out
on the committee,
form.
but I'm
Do
in the
you
Kiwanis.
both have-
I'm the one who did the application.
I can make a motion to accept the civic event permit for the 4th of July parade.
Support?
Okay, we have a motion by Bellinger and support by Chick to, is accept the word, Mr. Maines?
Accept.
I would think approve would be appropriate.
Approve
Accept
the
is just
application.
taking it in.
Yeah,
Approve
right.
is-
Okay, so,
I'll make a motion to approve the civic event permit for the 4th of July parade.
okay, motion by Bellinger and support by Chick to accept the application. Civic event application by the Kiwanis for the 4th of July parade. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
And I abstain.
I think
Oh,
I'm,
yes,
I'm
and,
going to abstain with you since it's the Kiwanis Club of Whitmore Lake, and
Okay,
I'm
so-
a member.
We have 5 yeses and 2 abstains.
Madam Supervisor, if I could, just real
Yes.
quick, I do have a little bit of a concern on this, and it's nothing to do with the Kiwanis. It has everything to do with the construction, not only of the non-motorized path, but the upcoming detours that may be affected by a road closure. I think we can make it work, but I just want the board to know that with the upcoming closing of the 6 Mile Bridge, Main Street becomes a detour for 2 of the construction routes. And I don't know what the road commission's gonna say about that, so just so that.
How about a friendly amendment? Wouldn't that-
Well, right now, I put in the parade route that we usually do in this, but I have, Bill and I have been talking back and forth, what is going to be our Plan B in the event that there are closures. So we are going to meet, we're going to make some decisions on what we do. It may not be a long parade. It might not be the route that everybody wants us to, because we get a lot of people telling us what route we should take, and it may not be the right route that everybody wants, but we will have a parade. But it may be short and it may be sweet.
What time is the parade at?
At 10 o'clock on the 4th of July.
Okay. So that passed.
Or we may have a lot of
5-0.
out-of-town residents joining us for our parade,
That's right.
so they can stop and watch and see how great it is.
Well, at least there won't be any politics done this year.
Okay,
We're
we-
gonna vote on it
Thank-
today then?
Thank God.
Okay, we have to move on here.
Have to do it
Can-
today.
I can wait.
We already passed, okay. Next item, resolution number 17564.
How do we vote for road closure?
And this is
This is
a resolution regarding a temporary road closure requested by Kiwanis of Whitmore Lake Auxiliary. And this is to allow George Brown to be the representative of the Kiwanis of Whitmore Lake for the road commission.
And I have one correction.
You have a correction?
So,
Okay.
yeah, so it isn't the Kiwanis of Whitmore Lake Auxiliary, it's the Kiwanis Foundation of Whitmore Lake.
Okay,
The auxiliary no longer exists.
okay. So I move to pass this resolution regarding the temporary road closure
Or support.
as amended. Okay.
Is this for the run or for the parade?
It's for the parade.
This is for the parade.
Okay.
And also corrected at the top, too. so.
Yeah, I did. Okay. Oh, here's another correction.
There's
It's
a
all
couple
over
of
the
them
place.
throughout there.
Okay. Let's do a roll call on this one, too. Do we have 2 more abstentions probably coming up, right? Manley, would you please call the roll?
Was there a motion?
Oh, yeah, I moved. Didn't somebody support it?
Ton did.
Ton, okay.
Yeah.
That's why your hand was up. Okay, thank you. Okay, motion by Chockley, support by Ms. Bellinger. Roll call vote, please.
Manley, yes. Chockley,
Yes.
Otto,
I abstain.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes?
Zelenak,
Abstain?
Docket.
Yes.
Okay, 5 yeses, 2 abstains, it passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, I'm glad it worked out.
Okay, the next item is the hiring of the front desk clerk and the building department assistant. Did you all get a chance to read Christina Rollison's resume?
Where is that at?
It's number 4.
Okay, what happened to number 3? I guess that's gone.
That was the road closure. We just voted on that.
Yeah. Right there. We've had a background background check on everything on her, so I'd like to make a motion that we hire Christina Rollison to the front desk clerk building department assistant position for $15 an hour to start on June 14th.
I support.
Okay, motion by Chockley and support by Bellinger. All in favor, say aye.
Oh, have a
Let's have a
Any discussion? Go ahead, Mr. Dodd.
How many hours?
She's going to be 30 hours a week.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and,
Is this a township resident?
I don't know.
Crossed out.
Yeah, I don't know if she
No,
is.
no.
She's not.
She worked for Green Oak Township, though.
Right, but she is not a township
Yeah,
resident.
okay.
I don't know if she's a resident, but she's well-suited.
Very well suited, yes.
Yes. Everybody, yes.
We are lucky.
We,
Okay. So let's do a roll call vote on this one, too, then.
Manley, yes. Otto,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes?
Bellinger,
Yes.
Chockley,
Yes.
Docket,
Yes.
Zelenak.
yes.
Awesome. Okay.
And she can start tomorrow.
She can start
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Number 5 is no good.
Right, number 5 has been withdrawn.
Okay.
Okay, number 6, sale of used VHF pagers.
I'm going to make a motion that we, what's the word, permit the sale of the VHF pagers. There we
Okay.
go.
We
I
have a
approve
motion.
the sale of the VHF pagers by the,
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Bellinger to approve
I'll
the
support.
sale of the VHF pagers with support by Chick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, decision to extend conditional offer for Township Manager position.
I'd like to make a motion that we select Leanna Claire for Township Manager.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Bellinger. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Bellinger to hire, extend a conditional offer for Township Manager to Leanne Claire with a second by Mr. Docket. Roll call vote, please.
Docket,
Yes.
Chick,
No?
Zelenak,
No?
Manley, no. Bellinger,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Chockley,
No. Okay, that fails. Okay.
I would like to make a motion to extend a conditional offer for Township Manager position to Mr. Stephen Ains.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Chick to extend a conditional offer for Township Manager position to Mr. Ames. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Chick and support by Otto. Roll call vote, please.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Docket,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Manley, no. Chockley,
No.
Chick,
Yes.
Zelenak.
No.
Okay, well, that passed. We'll be extending a conditional offer for Township Manager position to Mr. Ains. Okay. Now we have an opportunity to, what's our next item? Oh, I put something down here.
Pfeiffer.
Background check. So the conditional offer will be on, provided there will be an acceptable background check, and there is a company that was used, I believe, when Mr. Fink was hired.
My question is, why can't we perhaps get bids or consider other companies than just this one here?
Bill, if you
I'm
can
good with that.
speak to that, because I know that you were in charge of doing the background check on that.
Yeah, the reason we used this particular company is because of the fact that he does these all over this area, and we were familiar with him. They asked me for a recommendation back when we did the investigation on Mr. Fink, and this was who many municipalities in the area use for this type of thing, whether it's police, fire, or township managers.
Okay.
And I can tell you, he's very thorough.
Thank you.
Okay. I think they used level 3 is what I heard, that it was around $850.
Okay, that was my question. What level are we going for?
I figure if we are making this type of investment, it would be worth it.
For level 3? Are you making a motion?
I can make the motion to hire Pfeffer Investigation to conduct the background check on Stephen Ains.
For level 3?
For a level 3.
$850.
Okay, so we have a
Not
motion.
to, I would say not to exceed, because I don't know exactly how much it's going to cost.
Well, there's a Social Security application fee I see down here, which is additional. So we have a motion by Ms. Otto. And
You
a s-
better say 1,000 then.
Oh, not to exceed 1,000 then.
Okay, and support by Ms. Chick to have Pfeiffer Investigations LLC do the background check on Stephen Ains for a fee not to exceed $1,000. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on that? Okay, roll call vote?
Docket,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Chockley,
Yes.
Zelenak,
No.
Chick,
Yes.
Manley, no. Bellinger,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Okay, next item, the bills. Does anyone have anything they'd like to have clarification for on the bills?
Yes, I did, but I already asked the question about the $258,100 for Wagner. I would like to state that the township had to pay $697,452.43 to run the township for this last 30 days. That's all I have.
Ms. Bellinger?
I have a question, just curious, I may have a couple questions, but first one on page 6, just what is MML, Workers' Comp Fund?
I can't hear you.
I'm curious what the MML stands for, MML Workers' Comp Fund, just curious what that-
Michigan Municipal League.
Whom is it that is being paid by that, or why?
That's an insurance company for workers' comp.
How much is it? I don't know.
It's the premiums,
Is it in the
$53,417.
Oh, it's in.
It's the
it's in
premiums
pay.
for workers' comp.
The
that we pay.
53,000?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I had, that was already answered, but how about this? I think this was already answered with Lenore kind of spelled it out, oh no, I know what it is. Page number 9 and 20. Page number 9, it shows up. Okay, in the top of the first section of page 9, it says payroll fee of $21.88. Is this the, and it shows up again later on that page, is that for writing a paycheck?
No, it's
Okay.
a processing fee.
That's a processing fee for payroll, processing fee of $21.88?
Mm-hmm, that's true.
Okay.
Okay.
And the uniform thing, that was already answered.
Okay.
I think that's it for this anyway, right now. The one other.
What was that about? What was that about? About
The 2188,
what page is that?
that was on page 9 and, on page 9.
What? Page what?
9.
5.
That was a payroll processing fee. It wasn't a check writing fee.
So,
curious if that
so
was
in
a fee for
essence,
writing
so
checks.
essence, we're already paying payroll processing fees?
That's for them to actually do the work of it and do the automatic deposits into the accounts and paying the debit.
This isn't for actual printing of
There's
checks?
no printing of checks.
Okay.
One other question on the other open ones, or are we just doing this one first?
We can do the opens now. Sure.
On the first page, I was just curious, I wanted to know, the bottom of it says Washtenaw County, the roads improvements. I'm just curious if anybody happen to know what, is this specific, what road improvements? There was road improvements done, I just was curious as to, what is itemized at all anywhere that we could find out what roads, specifically what areas does this address?
This represented dust control and when they do the limestone patching, and it goes under, one goes under road work and one goes under road improvements. Why, I don't know. But road work is the brine and the brine dust control, and the road improvements is the limestone patching and the ditching. So
Okay.
we have gotten a bill for that already. Now, the road commission does put out a report on the work that they do in the township every other week, I believe. And you can even find them by going to their website, and you can read the history of what they have done in the township.
Oh, thank you.
It doesn't get super detailed, but, you can find out what roads they actually worked on and know that.
Because I did see a lot of work on 6 Mile, and I wondered if that was something that we had asked them to do, or if they took it upon themselves to do they put a lot of stone down on 6 Mile.
They do maintain the roads to a certain
A lot.
level.
They put a considerable amount down. I wasn't sure if we had okayed that, or if this was some of their own doing.
They may have charged us for that, I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
One last thing for me. McKenna,
Mm-hmm.
$6,754 this month.
Okay.
$6,754.
And what about it?
Wasted.
Okay. I'd like to move that we accept the bills and pay the open bills.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Chockley to accept the bills and pay the open bills, was a second by Zelnok. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'd like to have a roll call vote on that.
Okay, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Chick,
Yes.
Manley, yes. Bellinger,
Yes.
Chockley,
Yes.
Docket,
No.
Zelenak,
Yes.
Otto.
Yes.
Okay, next item is, the minutes. Now, the minutes had just a few minor changes that are just words. And if you all don't mind, I'll just give them over to Lisa Lemble, like an extra word here or there that doesn't change the meaning at all. Would you like me to go through them individually, or can I just hand my pages to Ms. Lemble?
I find an error in the vote on the May 23rd minutes.
Okay. Do you have a correction?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
On the second page of the May 23rd minutes, item number 8, pay for Mr. Docket.
Right.
It says on the bottom, on the very last line, Docket abstaining, Otto and Manning opposed. It was Otto and Bellinger that opposed the first one.
Yes. Yep.
So it should be corrected, Otto and Bellinger.
Correct.
Underneath that says original motion failed 2-2 on a 1, roll call vote, Docket abstaining. The next should read Zelenak and Manning opposed, not Otto and Manning.
Manley.
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 Yeah, even Manning, it should be Manley. I thought that was confusing.
Okay.
Yep.
So those are two corrections. And then
Those were mine too. And
on the first page, call to order was by Clerk Manley instead of Treasurer Manley. So, okay, any other corrections found on that one?
On this one?
On page 2, item 6, Zelenak suggested hiring the one candidate who received all the votes from the board members, I think. 'Cause I'm not I said on page 6, Zelenak suggested hiring the one candidate who received all the votes from the board members. I think it says positive or something. Yeah.
Positive is fine.
Yep. Okay. Zelenak suggested hiring the one candidate who received positive votes from all the board members. That's the way it reads. Zelenak, and this is what I thought I said. Zelenak suggested hiring the one candidate who received all the votes from the board members. Yeah. And it's replacing it with all the.
Okay.
There's a typo on, you may have already have found the one typo. Is it the 9th or maybe it's the 16th? There's a typo during the call of the public on, oh geez, where did that go? They had a constituent name incorrect on one of the call to the publics on one of these. Must be this one. Okay, it's got to be the May 17th. There's 2 mentions on May 17th. One is the second call to the public. The name is Gerry Hermann. The very first name on there. And on this same page, just above that, it says, under the motion carried by 4-3 roll call, it was agreed to set May 30th as a deadline for the matching payment to the public to be made by the township for the path. I believe we extended that deadline. That was just something, a note. It's not a typo. No, that's just a note on that, but I do want to change the name from Jerry to Gerry and Hermann, please. Thank you.
Can I make a comment? I think Ms. Limbell would prefer that if it's just typographical type things, that we just submit them to her, and she can change them. But if it's something, a substantive that might change the meaning of a sentence or a word, that we can do that during the meeting.
Okay.
I think we have a right to ask questions during this meeting, so I go along with Ms. Mellon. I think we have the right to ask.
Okay.
Then we know what gets done.
And I just have two typographical changes to the May 9th meeting, which don't affect the meaning, so I would just like to submit those to Ms. Limbo. Okay, I have found, there's two typographical changes that I would just like to submit on the May 9th, and I don't know that we need to worry about where they're at this point, but I've got them highlighted and circled for Ms. Lambo. So I would like to make a motion now to adopt all the minutes as amended.
I'll support.
Okay, motion by Chockley, support by Chick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Next item is a proposed 2017 millage rates.
No, the
And-
next item should be Mr. Dockett's pay.
Yep.
Oh, you're
And I
right.
would like to make a
You're right.
motion, if I could, to please please provide him one, as he requests, one paycheck per year in the year, covered under the clerical costs of payroll. So if the man wants a check, I believe that the man should receive a check as he has for many years and roll that cost into just a one-time per year payroll costs.
I'll support that.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Bellinger and support by Ms. Otto. Do we have any discussion on this item?
Yes, I did give everybody a copy of all the options that Mr. Dockett could possibly have. I guess if we want to waive the fee, that's something that can be voted on, but everybody should have this. So just, if whatever happens, we just need this form filled out, completed, signed. Let us know what you want, Mr. Dockett, okay?
I've already tried to tell you what I want.
Okay. Well, we need something in writing, and obviously we need to vote on something, so all your options are in front of you.
I don't think we do. I think there's an offer on the table.
Right.
And I think that's it. We don't have to do anything else.
Okay, so there's a motion by Ms. Bellinger and support by Ms. Otto to pay Mr. Dockett by check once a year, waiving the $21.65 fee that the township would incur to do that. Okay, we can have a roll call vote on that.
I
please.
have my hand up.
Oh, yes, sorry. Go ahead.
So I do want to make a comment, and I think that it is appalling that any employer charge an employee for them to get a check. I don't know of any business, any township that would charge an employee to issue a check for payroll. So I think that we have spent, and I will tell you, we have spent, the last time we discussed this, it was almost an hour that we discussed it. 5 people discussed this for 1 hour, and we have spent probably over $21 of the taxpayers' money discussing it. So I think at this point, let's cut them a check, and it's an administrative cost that we have to incur anyways. It's our obligation as an employer to pay our employees.
Madam Supervisor?
Yes.
Mr. Dockett has offered to pay the fee. I do not think this is, Mr. Dockett has offered to pay the fee in the past.
I know I did, but then it went from $20 to $22, and then the last thing that Manley said was, whatever the cost will be. Well, no, that's not fair.
So he's offered.
And when I'm looking at these bills, where 5 or 6 people got paid for $18. I mean, you know, I think you're out of line there.
So I think we should take him up on his offer. I do not think this is a trend.
I withdraw my offer.
So he withdraws his offer. So I do not think this is a trend that we want to start because of all the people that do not cash checks and all the issues and the cost it takes to execute checks because they're not cashed. It's an administrative nightmare. In addition to that, I was an employee of Ford Motor Company, and I was not given the option once they removed the checks. I had to take direct deposit.
4 checks in 4 years.
So it was not an option.
3 checks is all I'm going to get.
So that's my only thought.
In 4 years.
So,
if it passes.
And I do believe this should have been addressed in the prior, when the change was made and not left to this board.
I believe that it should have never come to this board and that the administration should have taken care of it. I think it is terrible that it has had to come to the board, that we're even making a motion for it.
I agree. Roll call vote?
I'd like to make an amendment that it be a one-time offer for Mr. Dockett only, so that we don't have every employee all deciding they need a check, and the township eating what could potentially be a lot of money in fees.
Does this amendment mean only this year him once, or?
No,
For him, okay.
for the
It's
remainder.
my understanding that it is $21.88, no matter if it's 1 check or 100 checks.
Right.
That's not my understanding. I
But
thought
that's
there was an
every
additional
time.
fee.
No.
It's an additional fee if we cut a check out of that period.
Yeah, out of that period. So if we have 100 checks that period, or we have 1 check, it's still $21.88.
Right.
That's not my understanding, but.
Is that true? Okay. Okay, then I will withdraw my amendment.
But again, like you're saying, Marlene, like if we do it, we should do it just for Mr. Dockett, not making it an open thing to every employee out there, because then Mr. Wagner.
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
Legally, you can't do that.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
You want to go to the labor board? The state of Michigan, go ahead.
The state of Michigan passed legislation that allows us to choose pay card or automatic, automatic.
Pay
deposit.
card with your name on it. If you give me a pay card with my name on it, the bank will accept it. You want to give me a piece of plastic that the township does not accept. I asked if I could pay my taxes with it, the $1,700. They told me, no, we don't accept it. The bank does not accept it. You want me to accept it. That is not true. If you put my name on it, the bank will take it.
And I also feel that if there was legislation or there was something that should have been brought, because I've asked Christina, I've asked several people to bring the information to me, and nothing was ever brought to us.
Okay.
Can we vote?
I was given some that I just passed on to Mr. Maines, but, okay, so we have a motion on the table. And, yeah, I have to say that this issue has cost the township potentially thousands of dollars.
Yeah, just
Thousands, because Mr. Dockett would refuse to participate in some of our meetings.
I
So
do
we're
not believe that
unable.
Well, you refuse to pay me.
Okay.
If you refuse to pay me, I think I can refuse
Mr.
to
Dockett,
participate.
I'm
Well,
just-
wait a minute.
I'm just
That was
stating
good for
from-
one, is good for the other.
You interrupted.
You refuse to pay me, so
I
I
did not.
refuse to work,
Mr.
period.
I'm just stating the facts.
Well, I'm stating the facts also.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dockett. Let's have a roll call vote on this one. Go ahead and repeat the motion, Ms. Bellinger.
I make a motion that we approve Mr. Dockett receiving a paycheck from the township once a year for his salary, and the costs incurred are rolled into the clerical or payroll fees.
Are waived?
Yeah, they're
The
waived, so
clerical
they're
fees are
absorbed
waived.
by the township,
Okay.
in a sense.
Okay, so.
I don't have this written down,
Okay,
word for word
motion by
anywhere.
Ms. Bellinger and support by Ms. Otto. Go ahead and do the roll call vote.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, Ms. Otto
Okay,
was the
sorry.
second.
Otto,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Zelenak,
Yes.
Bellinger,
Yes.
Chockley,
Yes.
Docket.
He can't.
I
Oh, yeah,
abstain.
sorry. You don't want to vote this time?
Mm.
Manley, yes.
Okay, it's over. Thank you. Okay, the next item is the proposed 2017 millage rates. I included in your packet a memo from, in addition to me, from Tom Moncheck, our assessing department. We don't need to turn in our millage rates until September. Because we have the fire millage on the August 8th ballot, he recommended, instead of filing twice and creating that confusion, that we just wait until after the August election and then submit it, pass it and submit it. So it would be on our second meeting of August agenda to take care of that.
We can't close by 10 o'clock.
Well, if you vote quick, and we have nothing else, we have independent contractor.
I don't think we're voting on this, are we?
Okay, so anyway, this is a piece of information, and I just wanted to let you know that that's why we're not going to have it, deal with it tonight. Our millage rate is .7885. It's reduced by Headley for the general operating of the township. The police is 4.4385. And our bond.
Will you give me that number, what, 4 point, what?
I'll give you the whole sheet if you'd like.
Okay, thank you.
4.4385, and we have a building bond debt that is going to be .8195, and that those are all that have been authorized by the voters at this time. So, is there any more discussion on that? Any questions on that? Okay. Thank you. All right.
The only thing I would recommend is, I think on the memo, it says that we will not be required to set the millage rates until September 2017, but the recommendation is that we adopt it at the August 22nd board. So I just want it
Sure.
noted
Okay.
that it has to be on that agenda.
Okay.
Can I ask one question?
Okay.
What about the Headley rollback? Did we find out we can't do that? Is it illegal or?
Oh, it's rolled back.
The 2%?
All of those,
It's gonna be the Headley rollback,
yes, that's
okay.
the amount rolled back.
okay?
Oh,
'Cause
we
I-
didn't-
At
no,
one time,
actually, no, we
at
didn't.
one time you were asking to,
Yeah, there's a Headley millage reduction fraction here.
okay,
So,
all right.
yeah.
So I don't think we can get around that.
no, we can't.
I think
So,
it's the law.
okay. Okay. Next item is independent contractor. Did you still want to handle this at this hour?
Yeah, we can just,
Okay.
real quick, I just want to get this on the next agenda, on the next board meeting. I was not able to get it at this point. I do want to have, for our next board meeting, employment policy on independent contractor, as well as if we could have a template of what an independent contract looks like.
Okay.
Because I think that, because we have three individuals that we don't have contracts with. And,
Ms. Lumble, Mr.
yeah,
Nelson,
and
who?
then we have the contract with the farmer that's farming on the thing. I mean, with that, we could have it in perpetuity, have a contract with him in perpetuity, the lease.
The lease you're talking about?
Yeah,
I think you would want to have a term
Yeah. Okay.
to it, but
I'm
yeah.
just saying that it's
Yes.
not as big
Right.
of a deal because it's small, but
Okay.
do something with that property someday, 'cause it's ours.
Okay,
So I am just requesting that it's on the next, on the next agenda.
okay. Are you going to be bringing anything
Yes,
forward?
I will.
Okay. Yeah, if you could send me an email with all of the specifics of that, that'd be helpful.
Okay.
Thank you. Second call to the public opportunity now. Would anyone like to come up and speak? Hello.
I turned it off.
State your name and your address and, okay, thank you.
Chuck Stoyer, 6 Mile Road. Just one thing I noticed in my calendar, you have an election scheduled for a board meeting night. I think you're going to want to fix that, and I think you want to do it with plenty of advance notice, like it should be done any day now.
Now.
Okay, thank you.
Talk.
You're not, no, I
He
think,
turned it off.
I think
Yeah.
Chuck turned it off.
Okay. What did the 6 Mile Road bridge cost?
The culvert? We don't, the culvert, Mr.
Yeah.
Kelly? We don't have a bid back yet. They're expecting it to be $250,000, of which the township will pay 1/3, and that will be spread over 3 years, so we don't have to pay it all at once.
You are definitely kidding me on that price, aren't you?
Nope,
I mean,
that's the deal.
that is a complete 5,000% ripoff, maybe more. A bridge, concrete built, which I did for 30 years, should cost a neighborhood of $500 a square foot. Figure this out, you're probably paying $4,000 a square foot.
Okay, thank you. We'll let the road commission know.
If it's a drain commission, I will talk to them too. They're stupid.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kelly.
A lot of experience with those people.
Anyone else like to speak to us tonight? Okay, seeing no one, we will move on to board member comments. Does anybody have a comment at this hour?
I do.
Well, I'm going to start here at Miss Otto.
I just have a quick comment. The 4th of July parade has several openings for volunteers. We need clowns, and we also need people to do traffic control. So I am looking for 3 clowns and about 2 people to 3 people for traffic control. And we also have the high school drama club gave us all their Beauty and the Beast costumes. So we have probably about 10 people that we need for Beauty and the Beast. And it could be adults, it could be teenagers, and I am going to post it on Facebook, so you can contact me if you're interested.
Okay, thank you. Any other, Ms. Chick?
Yep, I had more of a statement than anything else. I wanted to thank all the candidates that applied for the manager position for the township. They took the time and effort and came out here and spoke with us on a couple of occasions. So, and I gave careful consideration to both candidates and their stated and quantified qualifications and experience. Both have admirable assets they could bring to the position. One, however, met all the criteria posted and necessary for a Northfield Township municipal manager with extensive education and experience in public administration and municipal management and lengthy terms as a municipal manager. Very simply, Northfield Township deserves the best in a manager that can be had. This does not diminish the experiences, the knowledge, enthusiasm, or energy the other candidate brings to the table. This, for me and for Northfield, is the person that can bring the most on day one. So I want to thank Leanne also for applying. You're very impressive.
Okay. Ms. Bellinger?
Looking for clowns, there should be no shortage of them around here. Well, the usual, please shop local, support your local businesses. Congrats to Mr. Ains. We'll look forward to having him working with us. I did actually feel in my heart that our candidate, Leanne Claire, was a better fit overall. But both candidates, I feel, are the best of what we had in the pool. I really was pleased with both candidates in the end. I guess that's about it in a nutshell. I wish everybody a wonderful remainder of the week and enjoy summer. Thank you.
Mr. Dockett.
Do we know when Ames is going to start?
No, we have background check, we have to extend an offer, we have to negotiate a contract. It will take a while.
I think we should move as fast as we can on this, because we don't want to lose track of that. Okay, another thing, are we going to do something about McKenna, or is this board just going to kick the can down the road? I think the taxpayers and the business people need some action from this board. These people are out of line completely. Buy and used local stores and services. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else like to say anything? Ms. Zelnok?
No, I made my comments at the beginning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Manley, did you want anything? No? The reason I voted no on the township manager is not that I didn't think either candidate was qualified, although Mr. Ains was my choice, is because I would prefer that those funds be used in the community, and we have a lot of needs, and $104,000 could go a long ways. So that's why I voted no, but I look forward to working with him when he comes in, and so that's my comment. All right.
I have a question. I didn't understand what you were saying. About some funds and something about the community. I don't know what you were referring to.
The $104,000 that it'll cost for Mr. Ains, I thought could be used in the community and for more staffing in the office.
Okay.
So that's my objection, and I think things are going well in the office with staff, and there you are.
Okay, thank
All right,
you.
move to adjourn. Okay. Motion by Chockley, support by Zelnok. All in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you.